Good afternoon, all of you, and good afternoon, everybody online. Good afternoon, Charita. Okay, so we'll begin from today. I'll just give you a basic understanding of how we will be covering the syllabus, and then we will start the syllabus part. So, what we will do is we will begin with Indian economy between 47 and 91. All right, the objective is that we begin with paper 2 and I teach you few things on paper 2. Few things means I will teach you topics like trends of Indian economy growth, like GDP growth, industrialization, agriculture growth, savings, investments. So trends we will do. They are very often asked both in economic services and in civil services exams. So we will do the trends. Apart from the trends, we will also be covering agriculture as a topic, like green revolution and so on. We will also be covering industries as a topic and services as topics. So these are topics we will do from India between 47 and 91. We will also be doing topics like MSME, topics like poverty, inequality. These topics also we will be doing from India again before 91 and after 47. The objective of doing it is that once we are done a little bit on paper 2, it will take 14-15 classes, like starting today around 15 classes. So you can take it as 3 weeks thing, like this is the first week and then one more week and one more week. So in 3 weeks we should be done with this much part. The advantage will be that when I am teaching you paper 1 after that, because then I will begin with paper 1 after doing India between 47 and 91. So when I am teaching you paper 1 after that, I will be able to correlate that how you can use economic theory while writing answers in paper 2. I hope I am reaching you on that. That जब आप पेपर 1 पढ़, पहले मैंने पेपर 2 अगर 15 क्लासेस पढ़ा दी और 47 to 91 कर लिया, तो जब आप पेपर 1 पढ़ेंगे तो मैं आपको गाइड कर पाऊंगा better on how to incorporate those understanding in writing answers on paper 2 also. Alright, that is the basic idea of doing paper 2 first and then paper 1. Once we begin paper 1, the sequence will be, we will do micro, then we will do macro. We will spend more time on micro and macro because these are the two basics in economics. I mean, if you need fundamentals to be well developed, you need to be well developed on micro and macro. So we will be doing micro, we will be doing macro, then we will be doing money and banking, then public economics, then international economics, then development theory, and that will be the end of paper 1. All right, so we'll finish paper 1 like that, and then we will come back to paper 2. When we come back to paper 2, I will be doing with you the leftover portions of India before 47, like some India up before 91. Some portions we will not be doing, like a talk on trends of poverty. A trend of poverty talk has to be done from 47 till 24. So जो इस तरह के talks हैं, some of them we will be doing when I get back to the things. Or in your syllabus there is a term written, Vakil, Gadgil and Rao, their contribution. Again, they are parts which are not required for economic services. So I will come to that in a little while. So we'll do them later. But otherwise, majorly 47 to 91 we will cover. Did you receive a sheet today? How do they get that? करण, वो जो प्रिंटेड मटेरियल हमें बच्चों को देना है वो देखो कहाँ पर है, एंड ऑनलाइन अपलोड हो गया है या नहीं एक बार चेक करना. So you will get a printed material along with the online uploading also. So the first page on that is economics syllabus. I will also keep marking it for you, but make sure that with every topic you are clear. But remember, the syllabus that they have given us, whether for economic services or for our optional class course, is a very precise syllabus, but the questions that they ask are not that precise. For example, in a micro syllabus, they don't mention the term general equilibrium. But in the last 12 years, there have been 5 questions from general equilibrium. So we can't rule it out. Or in our macro syllabus, they don't mention new Keynesian economics, but they have asked questions from new Keynesian economics. What I'm trying to tell you is we will have 2 parameters in judging that whether I should teach something or not. One is of course the syllabus, that's supreme. But second is also taking help from past year question papers. That if there is a topic that has been asked in the past year question paper, we will pick that topic up and make sure that we have trained you in that. Alright, and not only that topic but things connected to that topic also. Like, it's not that if they have asked one topic then we will do only that topic. If they have done a topic, then we will cover that entire thing, so that in case that they again visit that same place, we would know everything about it. All right. So that is the way we will proceed, and I can assure you that each and every line of the syllabus we will be covering it, whether optional or economic services or RBI DEPR. Each and every line of the syllabus will be covered. So that way you don't worry. In fact, I teach you much more than what the syllabus says, because as I told you, the question papers go much beyond the syllabus. So I will be teaching you much beyond that. All right. Now, apart from that, in the beginning, like starting this week till September 2nd week, we will have 5 classes in a week. You will get rest for 2 days. The purpose is you get used to me and you get used to the course, and we become happy together. Once we reach mid-September, after that I will make it 6 classes in a week. All right, so then we will have 6 sessions in a week, Monday to Saturday. Sunday will be on off. At the moment, we will make it Monday to Friday. Saturdays and will be an off. Only this week, only for this week, because I'm not in the city. हाँ करण बताओ. सेकंड फ्लोर से हमारे यहाँ सेकंड फ्लोर टैगोर हाउस. ऑल राइट, मैं बता दूंगा. ठीक है. सो एक काम करना करण एक बार बुला लीजिए उसको प्लीज. एक काम करना, अभी टैगोर हाउस भेजने की जगह ये कलेक्शन बच्चों को यहाँ से कर लेने दो, और अगली बार से वहाँ चले जाया करेंगे. तो कल यहीं मंगवा लेना सभी चीज़ें, और यहीं से बच्चे कलेक्ट कर लेंगे. ठीक है. ऑल राइट. सो coming, it's just about your notes, so you will get them tomorrow. You can take them. In any case, you will not need them today. Today you will need what I'll teach you. So again, so coming back to the point, also, so this week, just what I was about to tell you, so this week you will get an extended off, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, because I'm not in the city. But to compensate for that, next week we will have a class on Saturday. All right, like this week we will have 4 days class, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. But next week we will have 6 days class. So that brings us back on track of 5 days a week. And that is the way we will proceed, I repeat, till mid-September. And from mid-September we will make it 6 days in a week till the course gets over. Presumably I need 120 to 125 classes to finish your course. That is the normal thing that I have needed. So I'm planning it as around 4 classes in July, and then 22 classes in August, and then so that will be around 48, 49 classes, and then the rest around 76 classes. We will we'll need 80 more classes at least. So rest another 80 odd classes we will be doing in September, October, November, December. But it might become a little more number of classes, because with every batch I teach, 5 classes get added to it. So because something or the other keeps cropping up and I keep teaching you, so that ways. So it will be around 130 classes, 125 to 130 classes. You can keep that. That is what we will be teaching you in the next 5 months. I will be trying that we finish the course. That is what that is why I've made it 6 days a week from September. Normally I used to take it 5 days a week throughout, but then I saw that the course went on till around mid-January. So I will be taking it 6 days a week from September, so that we can finish the course by end December. All right, so we are beginning now and we finish it by end December. So that by around 25th, 26th December, we should be done with the course. But then remember one thing in that, those of you who are doing economic services classes also and RBI DEPR classes, this course will extend for 1 more month after that. Because 25th, 26th December, we are getting over with the common things in optional and economics. It's like this, just to tell you, if this is your optional course, this is your IAS or RBI DEPR course. Our IAS and RBI DEPR overlap almost 98%, 99%. But this is your course. So what I'm trying to tell you is that only this much part is extra in optional. This is actually India before 1947 that IAS people don't have to do, or contribution by Vakil, Gadgil and Rao, again that IAS people don't have to do. So this part I do with optional people separately. I hope I'm clarifying myself. But then there is a separate part that IAS people have to do, because IAS syllabus is much larger than the optional syllabus. So extra things in IAS will be things like econometrics or things like mathematical micro. We don't have mathematical micro in optional. Optional micro is more like explanation. IAS doesn't have only mathematical micro. IAS has entire micro, including the mathematical part. So optional and IAS syllabus overlap in that sense, or IAS has some extra things in environmental economics and so on. So IAS has some extra syllabus which we will be covering with separate classes. Now whatever is common to IAS and optional, we first cover that. That is how I proceed with you. Alright, that whatever is common to IAS and optional, we cover that, and that is around 125 classes, as I told you, maybe 130. Alright, that is what is common between IAS and optional. Other than that, we will have another 30-35 classes for topics connected only to IAS, like say separate classes for econometrics or mathematics or mathematical micro, or separate classes for environmental economics, or particular things are there in IAS which are not in optional in Indian economy also. So we do those classes separately. You will have a set of around 30-35 classes which we will do separately for IAS. That is why I told you that if I get over with optional on 25th December, I will get over with IAS by around 25th January, 30th January. But then what I will do with your batches, from October, your IAS classes will also begin. So 6 days in a week, we will have optional, and 1 day I'll call you for IAS. It will be like that, all right? So that you know, for IAS also we don't get extended a lot. So my plan is to finish everything by January end, and then from February 2nd week, the test series for Indian Economic Services begins. Alright, from February 2nd week, Indian Economic Services test series will begin around 15th February, and that test series gets over around 5th of May. And Indian Economic Services exam will be in 3rd week June. So you will have 45 days of your own to prepare yourself for Indian Economic Services. So we are trying to make sure that it is holistic, and we make sure that you are fully prepared for Indian Economic Services, including the writing practice, apart from the classroom discussions and all. Now for optional and for RBI DEPR, we will give you practice papers before the test for RBI DEPR 1, so that you are able to practice those also. Now for optional, we will continue till 25th December. We will finish the course, maybe give or take 5 days. It might go up to 30th December, so please don't kill me for that. But give or take 5 days. We'll continue till around 25th, 30th December. We will finish the course, and then I leave you for prelims. We will keep having Zoom sessions in between, so I can call you for a Zoom session for your doubts, for no other purpose. But then I'll leave you for prelims, and after the prelims gets over, like this year prelims got over on 24th May, and 26th May I called a Zoom session of the class, and 28th May we had started with the discussions again. So the revision begins there. Alright, that from 3-4 days after prelims, I call you for revision. There will be 8 tests, and there will be 4 practice tests. Alright, so 8 full tests, full length tests, and 4 practice tests is what we will have in the optional classes. Apart from that, there will be a set of around 80 questions. Apart from the practice tests, there will be a set of around 70-80 questions that I will discuss with you separately to make you revise the course again. तो जो practice tests हैं और जो tests हैं वो तो हैं ही अपनी जगह. Each test has 28 questions in it. So 8 tests and plus 4 practice tests. These 12 tests will give you 28 questions each. Alright, so that is around 336 questions, and then I give you another 70-80 questions that we practice in the class, mainly from Indian economy portion or money banking portion. So close to around 400 questions is what we will use to revise the entire course with writing practice. The tests are the purposes again that you practice writing, and during these tests I teach you many things. So the course doesn't consist of only the 130 classes I do with you, and same thing applies on IAS. आप हमेशा ध्यान रखेंगे, अगर आप कोर्स कंप्लीट करना चाहते हैं कि बाद में किसी तकलीफ में ना जाएं, यू हैव टू डू व्हाट वी डू इन द क्लासरूम स्टार्टिंग टुडे, प्लस द PYQ previous year question solutions. We will give you these solutions in PDF form for online people and in printed form for offline people, but we will be giving you these solutions. So plus previous year question solutions, apart from the classroom discussion, and plus the test series discussion, each and every test and practice test that I do with you. So test series discussion is very important. Please don't miss this. उसका रीजन मैं आपको बताता हूँ. With every batch, इसीलिए मैंने जो YouTube वीडियोस भी आप मेरे देखेंगे मैं वहां बोलता हूँ that economics as a subject is not dynamic in that sense. I mean, when people scare you, economics is dynamic and people don't get good. That's nonsense. Entire paper one is model, and all these people who have given the model, most of them are no more also now. So you don't expect them to come back and change it. So that's static. You know, ये थोड़ी हो कि मार्शल अचानक आएंगे बोलेंगे नहीं मैं मीन कर रहा था ऐसा. ये तो नहीं होने वाला. So that means first paper will be majorly static. Second paper, we can't change India before 47, or we can't change India before 91 unless somebody doesn't get that time ring and gets Thanos to press it and do something. So we can't change that. So that's again not dynamic. India before 2000, India after 1991, again things that have happened already in 1998, 2006 MSME Act, 2009 Public Sector Act, 2011 National Manufacturing Policy, 2014 Make in India Policy, 2020 Public, PLI scheme. We can't change all that. They are happening. They have already happened. So point I'm trying to make to you is dynamism in our subject is not that subject changes. Dynamism in our subject is as context changes, the type of questions they will ask us will change. So we need to be very careful that we are well prepared with the type of questions, that we might be asked. That is what these tests do for you. Because every year the context will change. So every year I have to keep you updated with the test series. Plus there are things that I teach you in the class which we call syllabus plus PYQ. But then there are things which I have not done in the class, not because they are very important and I am leaving it, but because they are not that important, but they might appear in the paper. So maybe something which has appeared once in last 20 years, or something which has not appeared till now, but which I feel might appear in paper. Everything like that I cover with you in the test series there. So we do make sure that in the classroom, we cover the syllabus entirely and we cover all the writing practice you can do. That also reminds me of one more thing. At the end of each week, I will give you 2 questions to write. In the beginning of the next week, I will answer those questions for you. All right, I'm giving you 2 questions to write and then I'm answering those 2 questions for you. I will do this for 5-6 weeks. After 5-6 weeks, I will trust you and believe you have learned how to write answers by me writing 10, 12, 15 answers with you. And then I will give you the questions, you can write the answers and I can correct them for you. You understand that? So that way I will be able to guide you how to do answer writing, how to practice questions, how to remove the hesitancy of writing things on a piece of paper. That we will begin by around September. Till August, I give you questions, I give you answers. But from around second week September, जैसे मैं 6 days a class करूँगा, तो वहाँ से हम लोग क्या करेंगे? We will start making it this way, that questions and answers will be given in a manner. Like where you give the answer, you write it and we will check it for you. Also at the end of each topic, like suppose when I end India between 47 and 91, we will conduct a test for you, and that test also, it will be a class test. We correct that test and we give you the feedback of that test. All right, so we will conduct the test for you and we will be correcting that test. You can write that and it will be in the classroom itself. So we will give you 2 hours to write. You take 2 hours, write the test. We will properly correct the test, give you the feedback, give you the marks also. Marks is not the concern actually. पहले कुछ टेस्ट में तुम्हें बहुत कम नंबर आएंगे जो नॉर्मल है. अगर ज्यादा आते हैं तो इसका मतलब तुम्हारे अंदर कोई आइंस्टाइन तो छिपा हुआ है जो तुम नहीं समझ पाए हो. But normally you don't get beyond 40%, 45%, 35%, and so on. That's completely fine. The purpose is again to break the mold where you can sit down and write tests for 2 hours. Getting a habit that okay, I finished 6 questions, 7 questions in 2 hours. I develop a habit of writing. So we will do that at the end of each topic that I finish. So once I finish India between 47 and 91, we will have a test. I finish micro, we will have a test. I finish macro, we will have a test. I finish international economics, we'll have a test. So that way, as I finish topics, I'll conduct a test. You can write the test and we will correct it for you. All right. The whole idea of a coaching is to make sure that we fully prepare you for the exam. Your reference material will be whatever I do in the class for economic services also, as well as RBI, DEPR and optional. Your reference material will be whatever we do in the class plus whatever I dictate, whatever reading material I have given you. All right, so whatever has been done in the class plus whatever reading material has been given to you, printed notes we will give you offline, and online you will get the PDF. If online people want the printed notes, what you can do is, if anybody of your knowledge lives in Delhi, just send them to Next IAS and we will give them the printed notes. So we can do that. But offline people, you can collect them from here only tomorrow, and but from the next section onwards, you may have to just go to Tagore House and collect it as usual. So we will be giving you those notes. So printed notes and class notes plus test series, whatever I dictate to you as answers there. You just have to do them 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and you don't have to worry about anything. All right, that is the key factor here. That your entire thought process should be focus on what sir has done in the classroom. Tum itna karo, and I give you a very responsible guarantee that you will be completed on the syllabus entirely and you will be able to solve questions properly. All right, but do make sure that you're doing the class notes and you're doing the printed material I'm giving you, and you are doing the the test series discussion that I will do with you later. Same thing applies on economic services also. Nothing changes. That just do these things that we do with you in the class. Repeat them once, repeat them twice, repeat them thrice. By the end of the class, you will see what I mean. In case it comes to your mind, do we need to read other books also or reference, because some toppers say all that. तुम्हें दूसरा किताब भी पढ़ना चाहिए, तो फिर ट्यूशन क्यों लगाओगे? तुम्हें कोई किताब पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि उन्हीं किताब से चोरी करके मैंने तुम्हारे नोट्स बना लिए हैं. Alright, I have taken those same books as reference and made your notes. So why should you refer some other book? But the idea is, unless you have not gone through the notes entirely and multiple times, there will be a problem. So you just go through the notes I do with you multiple times and entirely, and you will be fine. Another thing is, we have made a Telegram group of yours, and you would have received the link for that in your email. Check your spam folder also. It might have gone there. Please join the Telegram group. There are much lesser number of people in the Telegram group at the moment compared to the admissions we have had. So there are more people who have taken admission, but there are less number of people in the Telegram group that I see. But we have made a Telegram group of yours, and that will remain a major way of me communicating to you. I will be sharing notes in that Telegram group with you. I will be sharing current affair material in that Telegram group with you, and the Telegram group lives forever. I don't leave it at all. I keep sharing material in my Telegram groups, which I had formed way back 6 years ago also, even today. व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स भी बने थे जब मैं पिछले इंस्टीट्यूट पे था, मैं उनमें भी कुछ कुछ शेयर करता रहता हूं, जबकि मुझे उम्मीद है कि अब उनमें जो लोग हैं वो तो नहीं लिख रहे होंगे इस पेपर को, क्योंकि वो 2016-17 के ग्रुप्स हैं. बट आई स्टिल कीप शेयरिंग थिंग्स ओवर देयर दैट इन केस समबडी, मैं एक्चुअली तब से पढ़ा रहा हूं जब व्हाट्सएप भी नहीं था, तो गूगल लिंक्स पे शेयर करते थे हम लोग, वो भी बाद में आया, शुरू में तो सिर्फ पेपर ही दे पाते थे. सो आई एम एन ओल्ड मैन टीचिंग फॉर quite some time now, so that is why all those groups are there. But the purpose of Telegram group is majorly that we can keep communicating. I will keep sharing extra things with you beyond the classroom, which I would like to. All right, okay, now just one last thing. What we will do in the classroom, I will dictate things to you. I will discuss a topic, dictate and the topic to you, and that becomes your entire notes for that topic. Apart from that, apart from what I dictate, I will be speaking many things in the class. Do make sure you are noting them down. If you cannot note them down, mark the time horizon and make sure that you go back to the video and note that down. All right, but I will be speaking many things in the class apart from dictating things to you. तो जो भी मैं बोलूँ वो आपके नोटबुक में होना चाहिए, so that ये पक्का रहे कि आपसे कुछ छूटा नहीं है. That you will be using a lot in your mains answer writing for optional, because that knowledge, I mean, you will understand what I mean entirely only when the course is getting over, or in this after half part of the course is done, because then you will be much more familiar with the patterns and so on. So just make sure that you are covered on that, and we will cover, as I said, topic wise, trend wise things, and try making sure that you are covered on things. In case you have any doubt, any particular thing, you can always contact me. This is my Telegram ID. You can contact me here, and I will be willing to solve your doubts. Also, this is my telephone number. The only problem is I don't pick up. unless it is predetermined. You know, तो आप मुझे टेलीग्राम पे मैसेज कर लो या व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज कर लो और मुझे पूछ लो दैट सर हम किस टाइम बात कर सकते हैं, हम लोग एक टाइम डिस्कस कर लेंगे एंड आई कैन टॉक टू यू, आई एम विलिंग टू टॉक, ऑलराइट, बट यू कैन कीप दिस नंबर एंड आई एम सॉरी बट आई एम कॉल्ड विभास, just forgot. Okay, so this is my telephone number and you can always contact me and I will be willing to respond to your doubts. But I'm willing to talk on telephone, but the only thing is, as I told you, I'm either in my classes or in my research, and both the places, as a matter of ethics, I don't pick up calls. By no means. So in that case, what happens is you call me up and then you get unnecessarily frustrated that sir is not picking up. And it's sufficient that only my wife remains frustrated regarding that. वो frustrated रहते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा, तुम call pick नहीं करते हो. Now she doesn't call, she calls up the office here if she wants to talk or convey a message. Because it's not possible for me to pick up a call in the classroom. So but then if it is predetermined, I'll give you a time and we will definitely talk. So I'm not aversive to talking. The only thing is that if you send me on Telegram a message, I respond far more quicker because the first thing I look into is Telegram because I know people are sending me messages over there. All right, so I will be doing that. Anyway, so that is another thing that I wanted you to know. And I repeat again, whatever I do with you in the class notes plus printed notes plus previous year question that I will share with you, and plus the test series discussion I do with you. You just do these things 2 to 3 times, maybe 4 times if you want, but multiple times, and you are covered on the syllabus. I am again doubly assuring you. क्योंकि जब आप मार्केट में जाएंगे ना, आपको 3-4 तरह की बात सुनने को मिलेगी इकोनॉमिक्स ऑप्शनल के बारे में. मैं पहले ही दिन क्लियर कर देता हूं कि वो सारी बातें सही हों, जरूरी नहीं. पहली बात, it's a large syllabus. Well, if anyone is teaching you optional in 80 classes, the person is a fraud. Any optional, not only economics optional. Optional का मतलब ही होता है the syllabus has to be taken into depth. You know, अभी आप में से काफी लोग मेरे साथ GS पढ़ते हैं, आप देखेंगे if there is a particular topic that we cover in say 1 class in GS, the same topic will take us 2.5 classes in optional because the depth has to change. I will have to make it deeper in an optional. So economics is not a lengthy syllabus. Every optional will need depth, and if any teacher is not teaching it in depth, that's not justified. So be willing to go into the depth if you have chosen it as an optional. But it is not lengthy. I will take around 130 classes as I told you, so make it around 5.5 months of classes, and plus that you will have to revise it taking another 2.5 months. So if you are willing to give that, मैं जिस दिन पढ़ाऊं उसी दिन revise कर लो, same day. Like today I teach you something, go back home, revise. We are happy doing that. You don't need to do anything else. And then when I take the test, quickly revise the topic, come and write the test. That's another. At the end of the week, when I give you questions to write, if you diligently go through the questions, see the topics covered in the week and write those answers, then match it with what I have done with you. Just these things you have to do. And the optional will be done with me only. The second myth created about economics optional is that it is a tough optional, even economics people don't take it. Well, they don't take it, that's a travesty, it's sad. Maybe the economics teachers in colleges are teaching pretty bad. Hence they don't take it, they're getting scared because of that. But economics optional is not all that tough. You know, economics optional is a very normal optional, and a good thing is it's scoring. Especially if you are someone with economics as your background, or maths as your background, engineering as your background, BCom as your background. These are all background, a BA pass course or BCom pass classes with economics as one of the syllabus in it. In a nutshell, if you understand graphs well and you don't dislike Indian economy discussions, अगर आपको ग्राफ समझ में आते हैं, linear graphs, और इंडियन इकोनॉमी के डिस्कशन पे गुस्सा नहीं आता, कि क्यों मुझसे इंडियन इकोनॉमी डिस्कस कर रहे हो, नहीं जाने दो मुझे यहाँ से. अगर ऐसी कोई बात है तब तो गड़बड़ है, but अगर ऐसा नहीं है, then economics optional is fun. I mean, we can go on studying it, believe me, and you would also enjoy that. So it's not a tough optional. It's an optional where you rather score very well. I believe it is one of the few humanities optional where you can score a 300 plus. Last year a student scored 304. Year before that there was a 335. There is a student with 331. But mind you, these are exceptions. ये नंबर आते नहीं हैं ऑप्शनल में, किसी में भी नहीं आते. जब लोग कहते हैं ना इस ऑप्शनल में 300 नंबर आए, तो पहले ये पूछो कितने लोगों के. 2000 लोग अपीयर किए, उनमें से 10 के आए, तो ये नेचुरल नंबर थोड़ी है फिर. So my purpose is to prepare you in a manner where you are able to score a 275, 270, 275, 280 with more definiteness, which will mean that in an exam like UPSC civil services exam, where you need 1000 out of 2000 to become an IAS, that's 50%, optional can give you 55-56%, which will allow you to get lesser in some other papers and still reach 1000 marks. You understand that? और तुम भी यही रियलिस्टिकली एम करो, ये 330 में लेकर आऊंगा, ये किसी भी ऑप्शनल में कोई एम नहीं करता, आ जाते हैं वो अच्छी बात है, but nobody aims that I'll make a 350, except for maybe maths or some engineering optional which is more objectified, but otherwise people don't aim. But yes, a realistic 270, 275, 280 can be targeted if you stick to the plan. You know, sticking to the plan is very important. People have not stuck to the plan and that has hurt them. जैसे कुछ लोग आपको क्या करेंगे, क्योंकि मार्केट है, पैसा बनाने का मन करता है लोगों को, तो कहते हैं मैं तुम्हें रिसर्च पेपर से पढ़ाऊंगा और मैं तुम्हें 200 क्लासेस पढ़ाऊंगा, ऐसी ऐसी बातें करेंगे. उनसे बचिए. 200 क्लास का मतलब आप सोच रहे हैं 7 महीने की बात हो रही है. हम ऑप्शनल पढ़ने आए हैं, पंचवर्षीय योजना बना रहे हैं. टीचर में इतनी अकल होनी चाहिए कि उनको पता हो कि क्या छोड़ना है और क्या पढ़ाना है. And that you get by experience, that I will leave this much, I will do this with my students, and that will be sufficient to cover them up. Similarly, when I say that you read research papers, then why did you pay money to me? अगर मुझसे पढ़ के भी तुम्हें सैल्वाटोर पढ़ना है, रिसर्च पेपर पढ़ना है, क्रूगमैन पढ़ना है, कुर्सियानिस पढ़ना है, तो तुम बोलो सब ये सब पढ़ना ही है सर आपसे पढ़ के, तो मैं खुद पढ़ ही लूंगा, 2 महीने और लगा लूंगा उसमें. Again, my job should be to make sure that I teach you sufficient, and that is what you revise again and again and cover it. And believe me, I do it with all sincerity. I'll teach you, you cover that much, and you are sufficiently covered. I can tell you that with all assurance. But of course, what I teach you, you need to cover that. And by the time we will end, we would have covered something like written notes of around 800 to 1000 pages. तो आप देखेंगे ये कि जब तक हमारा काम खत्म होगा, आपके पास कुछ 800, 850, 900 पेज, डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर हैंड राइटिंग, बट कम से कम 700, 800 पेजेस के तो रिटन नोट्स होंगे आपके पास. उसके ऊपर 600, 700 पेज में आपको दूंगा प्रिंटेड नोट्स के, तो मिलाकर वो हो जाते हैं कुछ 1500 पेजेस. इसका मतलब कुछ 250 पेजेस की 6 किताबें पढ़ लो पहले उनको 10 बार. ये किसी भी एग्जाम का ग्राउंड रूल है. रीड 1 thing 5 times, then 5 things 1 time. If you read 5 things 1 time, it doesn't stick with you. But if you read 1 thing 5 times, it sticks with you, and you will be able to overcome any challenge you face. So that is what we will do. So don't worry at all. Another myth created about economics optional is it has too many numericals. I wish it had. If it had too many numericals, I would have prepared my students for it, and you would have scored very well in that, I can assure you. But the problem is it doesn't have too many numericals. Maximum I have seen is 3 numericals in one paper. That also was last year, which I don't think will get repeated again, but that is the maximum. That also, all the 3 could be eliminated in the choices that you got, so it is not a numerical heavy paper. Unfortunately, I repeat, I would have loved them to make a numerical heavy paper so that we can prepare you, and then 370, 380 becomes a possibility, because you get the numericals right and you get full marks, so that of course is there. अब इसमें भी एक बात सोचो, पूरे का पूरा दूसरा पेपर इंडियन इकोनॉमी है. Somebody will have to come and explain to me what numerical in Indian economy, because the entire second paper 250 marks is Indian economy. तो 50% of the syllabus से तो numerical के chances ही नहीं है. From the other 50%, the numericals are there sometimes from micro, sometimes from macro, and sometimes from international economics. These are the 3 places from where numericals can be asked. The level of numericals is something which is, I believe, not even first year undergraduate level. They give you a P is equal to 90 minus Q, MC is equal to 4, and then they say find Nash equilibrium in Cournot model. I mean, वो मैं पढ़ाऊंगा आपको, बट आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपको भी लगेगा कि हे ईश्वर, इसके 15 नंबर. तो वो ऐसी चीजों के 15 नंबर दे रहे हैं वेयर कहने को वो न्यूमेरिकल हैं, बट एंड ऑफ द डे दे आर वेरी सिंप्लीफाइड एंड दे आर वेरी सिंपल टास्क्स. यस, इन इकोनॉमिक सर्विसेज यू विल हैव न्यूमेरिकल्स and quite some of them, and we will prepare you for them separately. But optional course, it's not numerical heavy. You can go through the last 12-13 years paper, and you will see that in the last 13 years there are not even 12 numericals asked. It's not even 1 numerical per year that they ask you. But again, the dynamism comes from every year, the relevance keeps changing, and your understanding. Economics में एक चीज जरूर required है, वो ये है कि आपको diligently एक टीचर की जरूरत रहती है. Because you read it 10 times and still 11th time it has the capacity to worry you. ये कौन सा ग्राफ था, ये क्या बात थी, यहाँ लिखा क्या था. And then if you have a teacher with you, you are able to call the person up or discuss it with the person, sir, how do we solve it. Another thing that economics needs, especially paper 2 of economics, is a lot of writing practice. Unless you are not writing Indian economy, you are not learning it. And if you're not learning it, it's useless. Now that takes me to another myth about economics. It is very data heavy. I mean, paper 1, you are not using data surely, a lot of it, but paper 2, you will use data, but that's very much in control. We will give you a page on which data will be written, and you just have to do that page. And we will keep updating you how to go about it. But that is the basic idea, that paper 2, you will need data, but that data is something that is just like any technicality in any optional paper that you take where you have to learn something extra. So it's not data heavy, but in paper 2, you do need data and we supply you those data. So you don't have to worry about where to learn it from and so on and so forth. Also, I will be covering economic survey and budget with you, which I do every year. Some of you might have seen me on YouTube doing that. So I will be covering economic survey and budget with you in totality. And again, you do as much as I do with you in the economic survey and budget. For optional people, it is very important, if you are choosing economics as an optional, that this year's survey and budget, this year 25-26, and next year's survey and budget 26-27, you must know. Alright, now this year's survey and budget I will cover while teaching you. That's automatic. But next year's survey and budget I will teach you separately. You must know. 2 साल के सर्वे और 2 साल का बजट इकोनॉमिक सर्विसेज देने वालों को, ऑप्शनल लिखने वालों को और आरबीआई देने वालों को सबको आना चाहिए. So that should be your benchmark. That 2 years of survey, 2 years of budget, we must do. All right. Then of course the contemporary things and extra material, we will keep giving you that. Also, in case it comes to your mind that, okay sir, when the batch gets over, what about the fresh topics that will be taught? So I keep updating you in the Telegram group with all the new topics that keep coming by sharing my notes with you. All right, so you will keep getting the new notes once you are a part of the group, that you will be updated with all the new notes that I will be covering with you. So again, don't worry about it. We will keep you covered over there. And another myth about economics optional is less people qualify from it. Well, last 10 years, my students have qualified, 9 among them in top 10 every year, one of them at least. अच्छा आ गए हैं ये? हाँ दे दीजिए फिर, बटवा दीजिए. Okay, so that is what I had to tell you to begin with, that you go by that. Also, you know, on qualification, in last 5 years at Next I joined Next IAS in 2020, COVID pandemic ke waqt. So 21 onwards I started teaching optional here. So 22 onwards the results came at Next IAS. Since we have the records there, so I'm saying that in a public domain. So from 22 to 26, last 5 odd years, in these 5 years only, we have had more than 80 qualifications from optional, and they are my students. Now there will be others who must have been qualifying. There are 80 qualifications from optional, out of which more than 50 are classroom students. So it is not that and rest of them are people who participated in test series. Interview people I don't count. That those who came to me for interview guidance, I don't count them. But only classroom discussion people or those who participated in the revision test that I took. But classroom people are more than 50. Again, मैं इसलिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि वो नंबर्स इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, तुम्हें कन्विंस कर रहा हूँ कि इकोनॉमिक्स से क्वालिफिकेशन नहीं होता, ये बेकार बात है. एवरी ईयर वी हैव 1 in top 10, अराउंड 3 to 4 in top 50, अराउंड 6 in top 100. हाँ, इकोनॉमिक्स लेते ही कम लोग हैं तो एब्सोल्यूट नंबर्स कम दिखते हैं आपको. If 200 people are writing mains with economics, then obviously if 10% is the qualification rate, 20 will qualify. On the other hand, if 2000 are writing mains with some other optional and 10% is the qualification, you will see 200. And as students of economics, you should be willing to distinguish between relative and absolute. You understand that? तो जैसे मेरा वजन है 90 किलो, आपका मान लीजिए है 50 किलो. अगर मेरे वजन से 10 किलो घट गया तो कोई बात नहीं, आपसे घट गया आप बर्बाद हो गए. So दोनों के वजन 10-10 किलो ही घटा, लेकिन रिलेटिव टर्म में आपके 20% वजन लूज कर दिया, मैंने 10%. It doesn't bother me much. So the point I'm trying to teach you is economics is scoring enough. Don't worry about it. Economics has syllabus which is very much in control. हाँ, अपने आप प्रिपरेशन करने जाओगे तो थोड़ी तकलीफ होगी क्योंकि उसमें टाइम लगता है ज्यादा. No doubt about it, because it's a technical subject. And third, people do qualify from economics. Don't worry about it. It gives you the edge that you automatically prepare for economic services, RBI, DEPR. आप में से अगर कोई है जो CUET देने के मूड में है अगले साल, तो आप जब मैं IES की क्लासेस करूं वो भी कर लेना. Do the IES classes. We will prepare you for CUET along with that also. Alright, many of my students have qualified this year also in those exams, and they have given me this feedback that we just did, and this has been happening for last 4-5 years now. तो यही कहते हैं कि सर IES की क्लास कर लेते थे, उससे हो जाता था, हम qualify कर लेते थे. And same thing I try preparing you on net exam also, kind of things that if you are covering on that, then you can write net. अगर IES की तैयारी कर लिया तो नेट की तैयारी अपने आप हो जाती है, उसके लिए फिर अलग से कोचिंग या कोई एफर्ट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. All right, Shalini, I hope you got the answer. There is no average marking per se, but you must take your optional based on your interest. If you have interest in the paper, you will be able to receive that. Yeah, you can come, Arnika, and collect it. No problem at all. Online, okay, there's a question that how can online students get their paper corrected? We will share a portal with you. Tanisha, I'm answering your question. We will share a portal with you, and that portal will allow you to submit your answers online, and we will correct your answers online and give it back to you. So don't worry, online students can also do that. Yeah, there is one more question that if I'm enrolled in economics optional, do I need to do GS economy classes? No, you don't need to. Please save your time. We will make sure that we cover you on GS economy in the optional class entirely. All right, entirely and in more depth. तो अपना time बचाओ, GS economy की class मत करो, optional की class more than sufficient होंगी to cover that. All right, so don't worry about that factor at all. That also reminds me that for economic services people, we will be giving you guidance on GS and English also. You will get videos in which GS and English will be covered, and you don't have to again separately prepare for them. We will prepare you on GS and English also. RBI general exam is different, Dhananjay. DEPR is what we will prepare you on, apart from IES and optional. Your optional class will happen every day at 3 o'clock. Sneh Shruti, I'm answering your question. Optional class will happen every day at 3 o'clock at Vivekanand House and online. And as I told you, Monday to Friday to begin with. But I repeat again, only this week, since I am not in the city, the classes will be off on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. But to compensate for the loss of Friday this week, we will have a class on Saturday next week. That is the only change in schedule. Other than that, Monday to Friday we will have classes till mid-September, after which we will make it Monday to Saturday. Yes, Kashak, I repeat again for everyone, online people can attend the class, can collect their material by coming to Next IAS and Vivekanand House or Tagore House and taking it from there. You can always come and collect. For 2025-26 budget and survey, Raj Banerjee, I'm answering your question. I will teach you in the class so you don't have to refer anything at all. Yes, Aditi, IES classes will happen simultaneously for it. For non-economics background people, Nikhil, then stick to only optional right now, not apart from that. And again I repeat, there's another question that is said that maths की बहुत ज़रूरत होती है, stats की होती है, econometrics की होती है. ये बात अगर किसी ने तुम्हें बोला है, तो उनको blacklist कर लो अपने माइंड में. ठीक है, मैं बताता हूँ क्यों. उन्होंने खुद कभी खोल के ऑप्शनल का सिलेबस देखा ही नहीं इकोनॉमिक्स का, तभी ऐसी बात बोल के डरा रहे हैं. पहली बात, there is no econometrics and there is no statistics in economics optional. Nothing. And again I repeat, I wish they had put it, but nothing. In maths, the only thing you will need is a basic differentiation, and those of you who don't come with a maths background, we will conduct a separate classes. There will be 2 classes on that, and we will prepare you for that. So if you don't have maths in your background, there will be a very small discussion which you will need, nothing more than that. That also for one topic. Other than that one topic in micro, that is markets, maths will of any level beyond 10th standard will not be needed. So do not get scared by that at all. We will cover you on things. In any case, whenever you have any problem, कभी भी लगे कोई दिक्कत है, कोई problem है, reach out to me and send me a message. I will respond. I respond to all my messages. मैं hello का जवाब भी दे देता हूँ, hello लिख देता हूँ. कुछ तुम टेलीग्राम पे भूत प्रेत बना के भेजते हो, मैं भी अपने हिसाब से एक भूत प्रेत भेज देता हूँ. कुछ यही सब करता रहता हूँ मैं. So don't worry, you will definitely get my response. But that is the basic. अगर आप बाई चांस अभी भी ऑप्शनल लेके सोच रहे हैं, द बेस्ट वे टू थिंक इज विच सब्जेक्ट डू यू लाइक रीडिंग. It doesn't matter about anything else. What do you like doing, and what kind of support you will get from your teacher in that subject? These are the two key factors. If you like doing economics, if you are happy with Indian economy and you don't have a major problem with graphs, you can easily opt for economics. Don't get worried about it. Okay, so we get going. We'll begin today with a topic on economic structure of India, but before that I will give you a trend discussion and then we go further. So you have received this. Can I just I have a copy, sorry. On this, in this notes, first page you will see the syllabus. In that, if you could come to third page, paper 2 you will see, and within that you will see Indian economy after independence. I hope you can see that. All of you can see that. And there is a term in it, A, the pre-liberalization era. I hope you have seen that also. Okay, in the next 3-4 classes that we will be doing, we will be covering topics which are broad factors determining national income and distribution. Tick that. Broad factors determining national income and distribution. And the topic above that, national and per capita income, patterns, trends, aggregate and sectoral composition. All right, that topic. And then the topic above that, trends in industry, not the role of public and private sector, वो नहीं, only industry trends in composition and growth. मैं फिर से repeat कर देता हूँ. We will be covering broad factors determining national income and distribution, just that topic, tick that. Not measures of poverty and all, that we will be doing later, but broad topics, factors determining national income and distribution. Second, national and per capita income, patterns, trends, aggregate and sectoral composition and changes therein. And third, industry trends in composition and growth. Alright, these are the 3 topics we will be covering in the next around 6 odd classes, 6 to 7 classes. Alright, when I will go to another topic, I will again highlight it to you. ये 2 sides जो हैं, 4 sides, 3-4 sides, ये हमेशा अपने पास रखना. Alright, even when this topic gets over, जब तक ये topic है तब तक तो ये notes हैं आपके पास. फिर माइक्रो के नोट्स में दूंगा, and I give you notes at the end of each topic. So when I will begin with micro, I'll give you micro notes then, because we keep updating and changing the notes, so we keep giving you the notes topic wise. So but then even when you get micro notes, this syllabus you should always have with yourself, and I will keep guiding you how I am covering the syllabus. All right, so right now we are beginning with India before 91, after 47, the pre-liberalization era, and we will talk about the development as they happened in that time period. All right, now and as I told you, we are beginning with patterns, trends, aggregate and so on. Okay, the classes will be 2.5 hours, Siddhi, not more than that. Yes, Sumit, we will be covering you on IAS and RBI DEPR also. The handouts and material will be available in a PDF form online, Devendra. You can just check the PDF section of Next IAS app. You will be getting it. Well, if you want to do numerical questions, Parth, the calculus you need to know is x raised to the power n is differentiated as n into x raised to the power n minus 1. That is the level of calculus you need to know, plus maybe a product rule here and there, but not more than that. All right. For printed material, you will have to visit the institute, Preeti. Unfortunately, the institute doesn't send it home. You can download the PDF. Why not, Neil? Okay. Let's see. Let's go further then. Nikhil, online students can come for offline test. I don't mind it at all. मुझे उस सब से कोई आपत्ति नहीं होती. All right. There's another question. How do we integrate printed notes and written notes? तो पहले पढ़ लेते हैं. तो अपने आप पता चलेगा कि written notes क्या है, और फिर पता चलेगा printed को कैसे उससे accommodate करना है. So I will teach you and let me teach you, and then you will be able to adjust your printed and notes and written notes. But written notes, number 1, whatever I dictate in the class, followed by printed notes. I will guide you on printed notes, what to read, how much to read, followed by the PYQ discussions I share with you. So I will be giving you previous year question solution sets, and followed by the test series. You have to do all these to make sure you are fully covered. And I can assure you again, you don't need to read any material, anything else. This much will be more than sufficient. All right, for IES as well as economics optional, both of those, and RBI DEPR. If you have something offline, you can ask me. Online वाले तो पूछ लिए, मैंने जवाब भी दे दिया. Yes, yes. Yes, we will be covering statistics, econometrics, mathematics, mathematical micro, linear programming. All topics will be covered. Like IAS topics also, each and every line we will be covering with you. Even the environmental economics topics, which are not there in optional, but they are there in IAS. You know, like the reveal preference approach of valuation of environment and all. We will be doing it with you. All right. Even there are certain extensions in IAS on state versus market and all. We will be doing that with you. We will be covering IES as well as economics optional entirely with you. We'll be doing it. Okay. Yes, please. अच्छा, हाँ, न्यूज़पेपर की पढ़ने की बात कर रहे हो? Okay, so my suggestion will be just stick to the newspaper that you are reading. जो भी पढ़ते हो वो पढ़ते रहो, and whatever is needed extra, we will share with you on the Telegram group. Plus whatever extra is needed, I keep updating you in the class. अभी हमारी क्लास शुरू होगी, तुम देखोगे मैं बहुत बकबक करता हूँ करंट अफेयर्स के बारे में. बस उस बकबक को कहीं साइड में लिख लो. Alright, just make sure that you are writing them down. You will see that almost everything will be prepared. And plus weekly current affairs, I will share with you. Economics current affairs. So you don't need to read any separate newspaper for that. We will economics ke liye. We will be covering you on that entirely. Okay. So we get going. We begin with a topic 1 first, which we call economic structure of India at the time of independence. और मैं मस्ती मजाक करके पढ़ाता हूं. अगर आप में कोई बहुत सीरियस पर्सन है तो मुझे अलग से आकर बोल देना कि मेरे साथ नहीं भाई. तो मैं आपके साथ कोई मजाक नहीं करूंगा. बट अदरवाइज आई कांट हेल्प इट. आई एम पास्ट 50 बट आई एम वेरी नॉटी इनसाइड. सो आई कीप जोकिंग एंड आई कीप पुलिंग लेग्स हियर एंड देयर एंड आई माइट टेल यू समथिंग. आई जोक अबाउट माई सेल्फ ऑल्सो वेरी ऑफन. तो ये सब चलता रहेगा, उसमें आई कांट हेल्प इट. बट अगर फिर भी अगर लगे किसी को कि नहीं सर मेरे साथ किया तो देख लो ठीक नहीं होगा, तो फिर सवाल ही नहीं है. आई विल नॉट एट ऑल टच यू बाय एनी मीन्स. सो जस्ट लेट मी नो. बट अदरवाइज bear with me, and everything is said just in good humor. You are the most important people for me, who are my students. I mean, nothing comes above you. Nothing. I seriously mean it. आपके ऊपर कुछ भी नहीं है. So we try making sure that एक ऐसा एटमॉस्फेयर रहे जिसमें तुम फ्री होकर मुझे चीजें पूछ सको, और पूछो भी जरूर. आई मीन इफ यू डोंट आस्क मी योर डाउट्स आई वुडंट नो. अभी मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ योगिक पावर डेवलप करने की, कि मुझे तुम्हें देख के ही पता चल जाए हाँ बच्चा तुम्हें दिक्कत है, उठो बताओ. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये तोंद बीच में आ जा रही है तो वो डेवलप हो नहीं रहा योगिक पावर. सो यू विल हैव टू आस्क मी, बट वट एवर यू आस्क मी फील फ्री. I will be willing to solve the challenge whatever exists. So we will be willing to help you by any means. ऐसे भी कोई दिक्कत आती है, कहीं कोई चीज़ों की प्रॉब्लम है, feel free to share. We are a team together. I will make sure, that is the whole idea, that you get as many marks as possible in your exam. That is the only intention, कि तुम्हारे नंबर सबसे ज़्यादा है. और अभी तक with God's grace, thanks to all of you, you have shown confidence in me and God has been kind. तो नंबर तो आते रहे हैं. Even in economic services, last year's topper was my student, and year before last also topper was my student. And there are almost 50% qualifications every year in economic services who have been my students. But इस बात बोलते हुए मैं तुम्हें बिल्कुल ये नहीं बताना चाह रहा कि इसलिए तुम्हें मुझसे पढ़ना चाहिए. ये तो adaptive expectation error हो जाएगा. ये लोग तो पढ़ के टॉपर हो गए, मैं तुम्हारे साथ क्या करूंगा तुम्हें उस पर ध्यान देना चाहिए. That sir, our classes should happen, you should take our doubts, material should be uploaded, you should be available to solve the challenges. That is the concern, and there I can assure you that we will be there to make sure that you don't suffer at all. Okay, now when we talk about economic structure of any country, not only India, economic structure consists of two things. All right, so whenever somebody talks to you about economic structure consists of one, what is called income structure. This is share of different major sectors in GDP. that is called income structure, share of different major sectors in GDP. And when I say major sectors, we all know that we classify them as agriculture, industry, and services. Agriculture, industry, and services. That is income structure. And the second thing that comes in is occupational structure. So occupational structure is percentage of workforce employed in any particular sector. Percentage of workforce employed in any particular sector. And again, when we say any particular sector, it adds up to agriculture, industry, and services. All right, that what percentage of workforce is in agriculture, what percentage of workforce is in industry, and what percentage of workforce is in services. All right, when I will teach you the topic of employment, I will clarify some more topics, but at the moment I'm just giving you two meanings. You keep them in mind. I hope you have taken this. I have an assumption, whatever I write on the board is taken down in the copy. So if assumptions fail, then models collapse. So I don't want that assumptions to fail. So whatever I write on the board, please take it down. So of course, now you know there are two terms that we use, and I will give you a small write-up on that. One is labor force and another is workforce. All right, these are the two terms we will use. Occupational structure is the percentage share in the workforce, not in the labor force. So when you use this term, so one thing we use is, of course, working age population, and in India it is defined as all people in the age group of 15 to 59 years. I'm using the periodic labor force survey numbers, and we will stick to that, 15 to 59 years. International Labour Organization takes it as 20 to 64 years. We will take it as 15 to 59 years as determined in India. So in India, it is 15 to 59 years. Everybody is called as person in the working age. Then when we see a term labor force, it includes all those people who are either working or actively looking for work. All right, that is called labor force. All those people who are either working or actively looking for work. या तो काम कर रहे हैं या काम ढूंढ रहे हैं. All right, या तो काम कर रहे हैं, either they are working or they are actively looking for work. We say all these people are in the labor force. All right, and when I use the word workforce, it includes all those people who are working. All right, so workforce includes only those who are actually working. Labor force consists of people who are either working or looking for work. लेबर फोर्स मतलब काम कर रहे हैं या ढूंढ रहे हैं, वर्क फोर्स मतलब काम कर रहे हैं. All right, so the difference between the two is unemployment involuntarily. You understand that if I'm in the labor force but I'm not in the workforce, it means I'm involuntarily unemployed. All right, if I'm in the labor force but not in the workforce, it will mean I am involuntarily unemployed. All right, that is the difference between labor force and workforce. Am I reaching you on that? So labor force minus workforce, and when we talk about that, that is what determines involuntary unemployment. What is an involuntary unemployment? Someone who is willing to work at the given wage does not get employment. All right, that is involuntary unemployment. Someone who is willing to work at the given wage does not get employment. All right, कोई काम करने को तैयार है एक वेज रेट पर उन्हें काम नहीं मिल रहा, तो उसे कहा जाता है involuntary unemployment. All right, I'll just define them for you. So I'm claiming that labor force minus workforce is involuntary unemployment. All right, labor force minus workforce is involuntary unemployment. All right, and involuntary unemployment is all those individuals who are willing to work at the given wage rate but unable to find employment. All right, that is what we call as involuntary unemployment. All right, जो काम करना चाहते हैं लेकिन काम नहीं मिल रहा, और इन्हें कैलकुलेट कैसे किया जाता है? You take the labor force minus workforce and you get unemployment in the economy, involuntary unemployment. We're clear till this? Just one more thing. Again, I'm not teaching you the concepts in depth at the moment. I'm just making you used to some definitions so that when I use these definitions in the discussion of Indian economy, you are clear about them. All right, मैं अभी तुम्हें ये टॉपिक्स डिटेल में नहीं करवा रहा, करेंगे इसको एम्प्लॉयमेंट पढ़ते वक्त. अभी मैं तुम्हें वो बेसिक्स बता रहा हूँ कि जब मैं ये टर्म्स यूज करूँ पढ़ाते हुए तो तुम्हें पता हो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. All right, so you must know what I'm speaking once you are used to the term. That is the objective of discussion right now. Then there is another term you will hear very often, that is called labor force participation rate. Labor force participation rate. All right, so when we look at labor force participation rate, this is people in labor force, that is the labor force participation rate, people in labor force upon working age population. कितने लोग वर्किंग एज पॉपुलेशन के हैं और कितने लोग लेबर फोर्स में हैं into 100. That is labor force participation rate, LFPR as it is called. इसका मतलब है कितने लोग काम कर रहे हैं या कम से कम काम ढूंढ रहे हैं एज अ परसेंटेज ऑफ जो लोग वर्किंग एज ग्रुप में हैं. Out of 100 people in working age group, how many people are either working or at least actively looking for work? That is labor force participation rate. I hope we are clear on that. Okay, so I will be using these terms when I'm teaching you the topic of economic structure. So I just thought you should be used to it. Yes, yes. Yes, they will be included as part of workforce, even though they are disguisedly unemployed. But they will be a part of workforce because they will be sampled as working. All right. Okay. Now, so that is one aspect, and I will clear these concepts better when I'm teaching you employment. जब मैं वो पढ़ाऊंगा ना टॉपिक तो कुछ इसके टेक्निकलिटीज और क्लियर करेंगे कि फिर उनको डिस्टिंग्विश कैसे किया जाता है, how do we find out that is disguisedly unemployed and so on. So now, yes, yes. Yeah, why not? They are definitely employed. All right, so we include gig workers. Okay, yes. Labor force, everybody who is reporting on work or looking for work. So that is done through a survey again, asking people, would you like to, are you interested in working, and so on. And that then decides labor force that are you actually, so just to give you an example, like the labor force participation rate for women in India is 33%, which means when surveys are done, it is found that 67% women are not even looking for an active work. All right, so maybe that is because of the domestic pressure and culture of women being the homemakers and so on. Well, again, that is a separate talk, but that is how we determine it, that you do a survey and you try finding out. And this survey in India is done by the National Statistical Office. It's called Periodic Labor Force Survey. All right, okay, so that is where to begin with we reach. Now let's go back to economic structure talk and what India started with. All right, that what was the economic structure. अब लेकिन मैंने 3 बातें की, अब वो क्लियर कर रहा हूं. मैंने कहा डिवाइडिंग सेक्टर्स इनटू एग्रीकल्चर, इंडस्ट्री एंड सर्विसेज. Again, we need to understand this: agriculture, industry and services. We qualify subsectors and then calculate the total contribution of agriculture, industry and services. All right, so you just give a heading. That is again a concept you must know. You just give a heading: qualification of subsectors into qualification of subsectors into agriculture, industry and services. Qualification of subsectors into agriculture, industry and services. Sai Saranya, I'm answering your question. I will be teaching you about integrating newspaper with optional topics, but right now it will be a little early to go in that discussion. So right now you just keep following the class and gradually we will be teaching you how to go about it. No, worker to population ratio is different from LFPR. Vrishti, I'm answering your question. Worker to population ratio is total workers divided by total population, while LFPR is people in labor force divided by only people in the working age group. So they are two very different things in their concept. Okay. Now when we talk about qualification of subsectors into agriculture, industry and services, it works like this. When I qualify agriculture, it consists of a crop farming, so farming of all crops is one part, agriculture, and B, allied activities which consist of forestry, fishery, poultry, dairy and cattle rearing, beekeeping. So that is agriculture and allied activities. All right, agriculture and allied activities. So crop farming and then allied activities, which will be forestry, fishery, poultry, dairy and cattle rearing, beekeeping. And then we take industry as the second one. In industry, we take mining and quarrying. इसमें एक बात का ख्याल रखोगे, when you read geography NCERT, you will see mining and quarrying as a primary activity. True, it is primary activity, but it is industry, it is not agriculture. You understand that we are not qualifying our sectors. We are not qualifying our sectors as primary, secondary, tertiary. We are qualifying them as agriculture, industry and services. So you should be careful. ठीक है, नहीं तो लगेगा अरे मैंने तो माइनिंग पढ़ा था प्राइमरी में, ये आदमी लिख रहा है इंडस्ट्री के साथ, नहीं जानता ये. So remain careful. You should be distinguishing between primary, secondary, tertiary, agriculture, industry, services. So again I repeat, mining and quarrying is primary activity, but it is an industrial activity, not agriculture. I hope everybody is clear on that. All right, and when we calculate GDP in India, we don't calculate them on the basis of primary, secondary, tertiary. We calculate it on the basis of agriculture, industry and services. So I'm classifying it accordingly. I hope we are all clear on this. ठीक है. So mining and quarrying is one thing there. Then D, just continuing in the industry part. Yes. QUARRYING. All right. Then you write D, that is manufacturing. माइनिंग और क्वारीइंग में फर्क क्या होता है भाई? मैं तो रट के आ गया, सोचा आप लोगों से पूछ लूंगा. ठीक है, काफी क्लोज है वो. माइनिंग implies you are going underground also, or you are bringing something on the surface. Quarrying will be already on the surface. You understand that quarries are always on the surface, so you just have to pick things up or put them in the lorry and use that. Mining is you are digging things, going below the surface, bringing things up. So that is why mining and quarrying. All right. Then manufacturing, then electricity, gas, water supply, electricity, gas, water supply, and public utilities. And then construction. तो एक बात का ख्याल रखोगे, industry does not only mean manufacturing in India. When we use the word industry, we mean mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, gas, water supply, public utilities, and construction. So, if we claim 28% of India's GDP is from industry, it doesn't mean 28% is from manufacturing. You understand that manufacturing will be lesser. So manufacturing is a subset. However, having said that, 60 to 70% of industries is manufacturing. So the terms are used interchangeably by newspapers and all. All right, so sometimes they use the word industry, sometimes they use the word manufacturing, because 60 to 70% are of industry is manufacturing, and that is why the terms overlap. लेकिन हमें clear रखना है as economic students that industry is the larger set and manufacturing is a subset of industry. All right, so industry will consist of mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, gas and water supply, and public utilities and construction. Yes. No, we never use construction in services. We use real estate in services. All right, and real estate is different from construction. So that is a separate ball game. All right, and then we talk about the third thing, that is services, and they will consist of G, trade, transport, hotel, communication, and broadcasting. Communication and broadcasting. GUNN, Gun, I'm pronouncing you. If it is wrong, bear with me. I told you when the class began, maybe you joined us late. We will begin with paper 2 first, do India between 47 and 91, and then shift to paper 1. So we will first do India between 47 and 91 and then shift to paper 1. Yes, Vaibhav, you are right. Public utilities are things like street lighting, Tanmay. For example, there is a public utility, or a water tap on the field. There is a public utility. These things are called public utility. All right. Then again, trade will include both internal trade and external trade. Transport will mean roadway, railway, waterway, airway. Hotels will include everything from a roadside dhaba to a 5-star hotel. Communication is telecommunication, wireless, post office, and all that. And broadcasting is OTT and internet broadcasting and satellite broadcasting, all of that. Then there is another thing which is real estate, finance, and other private services. Real estate, finance, and other private services. The idea is simple. The idea is real estate will mean, in layman terms, we call it property dealing. I make a property and I sell it and you receive it. That is called property dealing. That is a layman term of speaking. All right, that is real estate. Apart from that, finance is banking, insurance, mutual funds, share market, all that will be under finance. Other private services will consist of everything else that comes under private sector based services. For example, schools run by private sector, hospitals run by private sector. Next IAS is another private service. Spa, beauty salon, all these come under the category of other private services. And then we have public administration, community services, and other public services. Public administration, community services, and other public services. So, things like when we say public administration, that's law and order, policing, defense, and so on. Similarly, community services will consist of the non-government organizations, the non-profit organizations. Also, they consist of particular institutions which are serving particular communities. Like, you would go many places, you will see an Agrawal Bhavan, or you will see a Sikh Dharamshala, and so on. That is community service character. And other government services are the local services, Zilla Parishad and a Panchayati Raj and all that. So that is how we characterize India's qualification. Alright, जब हम लोग इंडिया में qualify करते हैं GDP calculate करने के लिए, so when we calculate GDP in India, this is the way we distinguish agriculture, industry, and services. Agriculture as cropping, allied activities, industry as mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, gas, water supply, other utilities, and construction. Services as trade, transport, hotels, communication, broadcasting, real estate, finance, other private service, and administration, community service, and government, public services. That is how we classify. तो जब भी आप ये इसलिए जानना जरूरी है क्योंकि जब मैं लिखूंगा एग्रीकल्चर contributes 53 or contributed 53% of GDP in 1951. So we must know what agriculture meant. You understand that? That is how one has to identify it. And when I say 73% people were working in agriculture, again we should know what do I mean when I say these many people were working in agriculture. So that is one thing, and you must remember it also. In prelims sometimes they can ask you to qualify and discuss that which sector belongs to which part. Yes. Easy. Construction will mean you are only taking the construction costs. Real estate means what do you do after that as brokerage or selling it to people. So you will never be double counting it because construction becomes the input cost for real estate. if it is real estate. But all construction is not real estate. You will be constructing a road, you are constructing a government building, you are constructing a panchayat office. All that is not real estate per se, no? So that they don't necessarily overlap. Yes, yes. I take it one by one. I take a question, come back to you. Sure, please. Healthcare is private. It depends on public or private, but depends on either other public services or other private services. All right. Okay, yeah, please. Acha, that's a decent question. I'm answering a question that electricity and water supply should come under services. Well, ideally it should, but when we were distinguishing these sectors, it was way back in 1948. It was done by V.K.R.V. Rao, and D.N. Gadgil and P.C. Mahalanobis. Government formulated a commission called National Income Commission, and that National Income Commission did this distinction. And since then, we are measuring national income through this method or through this technique. So in those days, electricity generation used to be the prime thing, and people used to call it industry. So it got into industry. Similarly, in water supply, the major factor was water pipes which had to be fitted, manufactured, put in, and that used to be called industry. So isliye, ideally, yes, they should go towards services, but given the days, they are coming under industries. All right. Yes, yes. I can't see electricity. Same thing, when you switch on an oven, you don't see the gas, you see the flame coming out. You can smell the gas. How do you see it? I mean, if you take an LPG, for example, that's why so many people meet an accident and die, you know. अगर दिख जाए कि ये हरे भूरे पीले रंग का कुछ निकल रहा है, तब तो वहां जाकर कोई मैच बॉक्स नहीं जलाएगा. Think of it. So it's not exactly tangible, if you ask me, isn't it? Okay, maybe a gas cylinder is tangible, no doubt. That of course is there, but gas per se won't be tangible. All right. So again, as I said, ideally they should have gone towards services, but then the initial days were different, and we decided like this. Okay, perfect. I hope, Sneha Shruti, you got my answer. Construction is not only building, plus all buildings constructed are not sent to real estate. Construction can be road, construction can be a panchayat office. That's not real estate exactly. No, hotels don't manufacture anything, Danish. Think of it. Hotels are providing you a service. Service of what? Service of hospitality. So you take that. The chair in a hotel and the food in a hotel is the commodity, but that commodity is given for the service sector. अक्षत, आज पहली क्लास है. आज क्यों रिविजन स्ट्रेटजी की तरफ जा रहे हो? आज तो पहले दिन शुरू कर रहे हैं. We will be talking about it, Pawan, on new index of core industries, but iron ore has been added to it because it is a part of utilities now in India, so they have added it to that. Okay, okay. Yes, yes. जो सरकार प्रोवाइड करे यूटिलिटी के फॉर्म में, जैसे पब्लिक पार्क इज अ पब्लिक यूटिलिटी, अ पब्लिक वॉशरूम इज अ पब्लिक यूटिलिटी. यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? एक पब्लिक टैप इज अ पब्लिक यूटिलिटी. तो ये सब पब्लिक यूटिलिटीज में आते हैं. ठीक है. यस, यस. Construction is not added in IIP. No, see, so please understand, it's index of industrial production based on mainly manufacturing. You understand? And what supports manufacturing. Construction, to be honest, is a very separate sector. Construction is an independent sector of its own. Since we don't create a fourth sector, so we keep construction in industry. But effectively, construction is not manufacturing. And IIP is about industrial manufacturing. All right, so we don't include it. I'll just take a minute. Services, private, other private services, and ONDC is a digital public infrastructure. So again, ONDC in itself is not a service. ONDC gives the service to the e-commerce sellers to come and operate there. So the services given by ONDC is a part of public service. All right. I had, yes. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Imagine a Zilla Parishad is paying wage, Panchayati Raj is paying wage, they might be paying rent, they may be making expenditure on constructing a building, running a school, all that is adding to GDP, no? No, 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 no. That is the point. Construction means constructing a building, but Zilla Parishad is doing a different service of supervising it. You understand that? So supervision of construction is different from construction. So you distinguish it at each point. That is where we guys make money, as economists. That you are able to technically divide it. That look, this is this, and then people say, इनको कुछ ऐसा पता है जो मुझे नहीं पता. My younger son wanted to do economics honors. I initially told him that there are too many in the family already. मैंने PhD की है इकोनॉमिक्स में, मेरे वाइफ ने भी वही किया है, तो मैंने उनको बोला बहुत लोग हैं घर में, वे माने नहीं. फिर उन्होंने कहा कि एक कारण बताओ लेकिन कि मैं क्यों इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ूं. तो मैंने उनको यही कहा था, मैंने कहा हमेशा वो सब्जेक्ट पढ़ना चाहिए जो बाकियों को नहीं आता. तो अपने आप तो आपकी डिमांड ज्यादा होती है, बिकॉज इफ द अदर्स डोंट अंडरस्टैंड इट वेल दे विल डेफिनेटली सीक पीपल हु नो इट वेल. टेक मेडिसिन फॉर एग्जांपल, only if all of us could have treated ourselves. All right, IAS is not private service, Karthik. Did I ever say that? IAS is government service, it's administration. Government schools are public service given. Preeti, I'm answering your question. Prefabricated building components are manufacturing, Santosh. They don't come under services. Building of a hotel is construction, but you don't build the hotel, no? You go and eat there, Vaibhav. तो वो कैसे construction होगा? वो तो service होगा. All right? So you are right. Overall part, that part where you are eating there, they are serving you, you are living in a hotel is service. एक बात समझना सब लोग, ये बहुत important है. Last activity देखी जाती है. All right? अगर आप कहेंगे ना, जैसे एक question ले लें, that building of a hotel. Now, building of a hotel is not a hotel, nor is it a hotel service. I'm building a hotel. Building of this building, say Next IAS building, was not teaching. I hope that is correct. है ना? ये तो है नहीं कि बिल्डिंग बन रही है और साथ साथ अपने आप ही C plus I plus G plus NX is equal to GDP at market price, ऐसी बातें निकल रही हैं उसके अंदर से. ये तो नहीं हो रहा. You understand that? It's a building being constructed. That's a different activity. Chairs brought into the room is not teaching. Digital board put here is not teaching. It needs an old fat man to come in and teach. So that is teaching. Understand it like that. So be willing to distinguish different episodes and you will realize that they all have their own definition, and there is something called manufacturing, there is something called services, and so on. Agriculture is growing the crop, but when you process the crop, that's manufacturing. And when you package the crop and take it for retailing, that's services. And that's exactly what you call a supply chain. You understand that? So we should be willing to distinguish accordingly. All right, that is the aspect here. Okay. Yeah, we have data on this year on year, Tanmay. Every year data comes here. Electricity is a part of industry, Suryansh. We have already written it, no? It is a part of construction only. Lakshmi, I am answering your question. It is a part of construction only. All right. You need flowcharts and micro diagrams part, but that will happen when I'm teaching you answer writing. Wait for that for the time being. Santosh, I hope you got your answer. That's manufacturing, which you asked. All right. Nikhil, you asked me what are enterprises. Enterprises are any organization which is used for any entrepreneurial work. That is enterprises. Okay, let's go further. Yes. हाँ नहीं, गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल्स अलग चीज है, वो पब्लिक सर्विसेज हैं. पब्लिक यूटिलिटी क्या हुआ? जैसे तुम आते जाते कोई चीज यूज करते हो, लेकिन वो इस्टेब्लिश कर दिए, ये नहीं कि उसको कोई मैनेज कर रहे हैं, खड़े हैं, कोई इंटरप्राइजिंग सिस्टम चल रहा है वहां. एक टॉयलेट बना दिए, एक आदमी को बिठा दिए, बोले भाई ये पब्लिक टॉयलेट है, वो एक यूटिलिटी हो गई. ठीक है, लेकिन एक हॉस्पिटल बनाएंगे तो उसका एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन बनाना पड़ेगा. रोड पर एक टॉयलेट बना के तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन नहीं करना उसको. You understand that? So that is the difference. तो हॉस्पिटल एक पब्लिक सर्विस है, लेकिन पब्लिक यूटिलिटीज जो हैं वो इस तरह की चीजें हैं जो छोटी छोटी चीजें आप सरकार प्रोवाइड करती हैं लोगों के हर दिन के लाइफ के लिए, या पब्लिक पार्क हो गए. ठीक है, दैट काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग. वो इंडस्ट्री का पार्ट है. ऑलराइट, फॉर जीडीपी कैलकुलेशन. पब्लिक पार्क्स अगर चार्जेबल हो गए तो पब्लिक सर्विस होंगे. ओके. Now, when we talk about the share, so when we became independent, I'm taking you into the structure now, and that is the first 10 marker we are getting into. There can be a 10-mark question to analyze India's economic structure at the time of independence or comment on India's economic structure at the time of independence. All right, so इस तरह से ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जा सकता है. Question: analyze India's economic structure at the time of independence or comment on, ठीक था वैसे, on economic structure of India. मैंने क्यों कहा ठीक था, सच में ठीक था. देयर वॉज अ क्लास 2 years ago, उसमें तो किसी का रिंगटोन आया था, वो बोल रहे थे जी हाँ मैं हूँ खलनायक. तो मैंने उनसे बोला ही, मैंने कहा अपने बारे में ऐसे अनाउंस नहीं करते हैं बीच क्लास में, बट वो भी बज रहा था. एनीवे, सो कमेंट ऑन इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इंडिया एट द टाइम ऑफ independence. Now this is what we are going to understand, that what was India's economic structure at the time of independence, and then we will of course take तो जो part है ना trends of structures. Alright, that is what we are trying to understand. The trend begins with where we were at the time of independence, what happened thereafter. So when we go to the data point, and that is where it becomes important. I hope you have taken this. Okay, so when we go to the data point, if we take agriculture, industry, services, and this is 1951 data, because 1951 we did the census, and from there we got these numbers. So this is 1951 data. So if we take agriculture, industry and services, and if we take इनकम स्ट्रक्चर, किसे बोलते थे इनकम स्ट्रक्चर, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बोल रहा था मैं. व्हाट वाज आवर इनकम स्ट्रक्चर? इट इज अबाउट परसेंटेज ऑफ पीपल एम्प्लॉयड इन अ पर्टिकुलर sector. Alright, that is income structure. And occupational structure is occupational structure is percentage of people employed in a sector, and income structure is contribution of a sector in percentage form to the GDP. Alright, so income structure, I repeat again, is contribution of a sector to GDP. That is income structure. Alright, and occupational structure is percentage of people employed in a particular sector. At the time of independence, the income structure of India looked like this: 53.1% and 17.6% and 29.3%. This is what the income structure of India looked like. All right, 53.1%, 17.6%, 29.3%. All right. So what does that mean? Agriculture was the dominant unit, and we had more than half of GDP coming from agriculture. Industry contributed approximately 1/5, slightly less than that, and service sector was approximately 1/3, slightly less than that. What I need you to notice is, even at the time of independence, the contribution of industry was the lowest. Why? Because Britishers had taken active methods to deindustrialize India. एक्टिव कोशिश की थी उन्होंने कि इंडिया को, इसकी चर्चा करेंगे बाद में, लंबी चर्चा है ये, बट ब्रिटिशर्स हैड टेकन एक्टिव मेथड्स टू डीइंडस्ट्रियलाइज अस. सो ऑटोमेटिकली व्हेन दे लेफ्ट अस, वी वर लेफ्ट विदाउट industries. What we were left with was a lot of services and agriculture, more so agriculture. Occupational structure, if we see that, occupational structure, और इन्हीं दोनों को जब आप ऐड करते हैं, this plus this, तो उसे कहते हैं economic structure. All right, income structure plus occupational structure is what you call economic structure, and occupational structure is percentage of labor force employed in a sector. All right, percentage of labor force employed in a sector. So if we look at occupational structure was something like, in agriculture the occupational structure reflected 73% people employed, in industry there were 10%, and services there were 17%. All right, so the occupational structure was showing this: 73% people in agriculture, 10% people in industry, and 17% people in services. I'm going to make you write some of the analysis and some features. You take them down and then we will discuss it also. So you write below this the main features of income structure at the time of independence were, and you write 1. This is the analysis part. I gave you the basic idea here. This is the analysis part. Just to be, I mean, you can remember the basics, but just to be more precise, this was actually 9.8% and this was 17.2%. All right, just to be more precise. अगर तुम्हें याद रह जाए तो nothing like it. नहीं रहे तो कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है. E-commerce is part of private services. Danish, I'm answering your question. Entrepreneurs create enterprises, Charita, but every entrepreneurship doesn't create an enterprise. Some of them can create a joint stock organization also. All right. Anju, we defined workforce, labor force, everything, no? You can just go back to the definition and check. That is why मैंने तुम्हें लिख कर दिया इसीलिए कि वर्कफोर्स किसे बोलते हैं, लेबर फोर्स किसे कहते हैं. तो वर्कफोर्स किसे बोलते हैं? जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं. लेबर फोर्स किसे कहते हैं? जो या तो काम कर रहे हैं या काम ढूंढ रहे हैं. तुम चेक करना, अभी एक पेज पीछे या 2 पेज पीछे तुमने डेफिनेशन लिखा होगा, तुम्हें क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी. All right. Now, when we talk about this, the first analysis, you write down and I will explain to you. You write, agriculture was the dominant activity. Agriculture was the dominant activity in terms of both income structure and occupational structure due to dominance of rural economic system with more than 90%, with more than 90% of India's population concentrated in rural areas. Full stop. However, agriculture was backward with very low productivity. Productivity means capacity to produce, दैट इज प्रोडक्टिविटी, हिंदी में इसे उत्पादकता कहते हैं, उत्पादन करने की क्षमता। योर कैपेसिटी टू प्रोड्यूस इज प्रोडक्टिविटी। सो विथ वेरी लो प्रोडक्टिविटी ड्यू टू outdated machines, in a bracket you write, just giving you an example of outdated machine, 90%, 90% of agricultural plow, PLOUGH, plow, of agricultural plow were wooden plow. 90% of agricultural plow were wooden plow. So mind you, we were 200 years behind the curve. Europeans had started using iron plow way back in 18th century. We were using wooden plow even in 20th century. You understand that? लकड़ी के हल का मतलब आप सोचिए, टूटेंगे ज़्यादा, बहुत ज़्यादा ड्रिल नहीं कर पाएंगे. So that was the challenge India was having. One example of an outdated machinery. Tractors you can very well forget. You know, there was no question that we would think about tractors in those days in agriculture. In the close the bracket, और ये जो information मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ, 90% of plow were wooden plow. This is for the year 1949. 1949. ये एक ब्रिटिश इकोनॉमिस्ट थे, जेम्स लिडाल, उन्होंने दिया था ये इंफॉर्मेशन, LYDALL, जेम्स लिडाल. This information that I gave you, I'm just clarifying myself, this information that I gave you of agriculture contributing more than 90%, agriculture having more than 90% of wooden plow, this information was given by James Liddell, LYDALL. James Liddell was a British economist, and he gave this information in 1949. I mean, taking the data of 1949. All right, James Liddell, LYDALL. James is JAMES, but I'm trusting you there. All right, okay. Then, so you close the bracket and then write, put a comma. तो पहला कारण था lack of modern equipment. मैं आपको कुछ reason बता रहा हूँ. Why was agriculture, dominant but backward? All right. So first was, of course, outdated equipment, comma, lack of modern equipments, modern equipments like tractors, harvesters, etc. Lack of modern equipments like tractors, harvesters, etc. Comma, absence of chemical fertilizers, absence of chemical fertilizers, and dominant practice of monoculture. Dominant practice of monoculture. In a bracket you write 80%, 80% of gross cropped area, 80% of gross cropped area was practicing monoculture in 1951. Put a note below that and write, when only one crop is grown, on the field, in the entire year, it is monoculture. I repeat, when only one crop is grown on the field in the entire year, it is monoculture. So monoculture का मतलब क्या हुआ? पूरे साल भर में आपने एक ही फसल उगाई. It is only the kharif crop or only the rabi crop. You understand that? So in the whole year, you're growing only one crop. That is what you call monoculture. I hope I'm reaching you on that. Okay, in the same thing, just right below that, मैं कुछ again concepts clear कर रहा हूँ, ये definitions पता होने चाहिए. You write below that, if more than one crop is grown, if more than one crop is grown in the year, then it is multiculture. Then it is multiculture. For example, if a farmer grows, for example, if a farmer grows rice in Kharif season, Kharif, Kharif. I can use terms like Kharif Rabi. Rabi is what begins in September end October and ends in March end April. Kharif is what begins in May end June and ends in September October. That is Kharif and Rabi, two main cropping seasons of India. Third is Zaid, Z-A-I-D. So we have three cropping seasons in India: Kharif, Rabi and Zaid. Rice is paddy, very often grown in Kharif season. Wheat is very often grown in the Rabi season, isn't it? Okay, you're right. So growing rice in Kharif season. Could you tell me the line you wrote? Farmer? Perfect. If a farmer grows rice in Kharif season and grows wheat in Rabi season, it is multiculture. ऑलराइट, अगर आप दो क्रॉप या तीन क्रॉप ग्रो कर रहे हैं एक साल में तो मल्टीकल्चर. अगर आप एक ही क्रॉप ग्रो कर रहे हैं पूरे साल भर में तो मोनोकल्चर. अब इनसे मिलता जुलता एक और टर्म होता है, मैं अभी तुम्हें दो तीन कंसेप्ट्स और एक्सप्लेन करूंगा, फिर वापस एनालिसिस पे आएंगे. मैंने ये टर्म्स यूज किए हैं अभी वाइल टीचिंग यू. अब एक और देयर इज अ टर्म विच इज कनेक्टेड. सो देयर इज अ टर्म कॉल्ड मोनोक्रॉपिंग. ये मोनोकल्चर से अलग टर्म है. मोनोक्रॉपिंग मीन्स growing the same crop and only one crop in a cropping season. For example, if a farmer grows only paddy every year in Kharif season and only wheat every year in Rabi season. ऑलराइट, अगर एक सीजन में एक किसान एक ही क्रॉप ग्रो करता है और हर बार वही क्रॉप ग्रो करता है तो वो मोनोक्रॉपिंग. आई होप आप समझ पा रहे हैं. मोनोकल्चर का मतलब क्या हुआ? एक ही क्रॉप ग्रो किए पूरे साल भर में. इन द इंटायर ईयर आई ग्रो वन क्रॉप, मोनोकल्चर. I can do multiculture. I can grow two crops in the year, but I can still do monocropping. That is, I'm growing only rice in the Kharif season and I'm growing only wheat in the Rabi season, and every year I keep repeating it. You understand that? That is where I'm doing monocropping. Are you with me on that? And then there can be multi-cropping when farmer grows multiple crops together in a season or alternate the crops in a particular season, many crops together, or they alternate the crops in a particular season. For example, if I grow wheat and pulses together, that is multi-cropping. All right. Or I grow wheat one year, then I grow pulses next year. You understand that? So if I do that, that is also multi-cropping. So multi-cropping it is I either grow multiple crops together, or I am at least growing multiple crops alternatively on my field. मैं हर साल राइस नहीं ग्रो कर रहा या वीट नहीं ग्रो कर रहा, मैं एक साल राइस ग्रो करता हूं तो अगले साल पोटैटो भी ग्रो कर देता हूं. If I'm doing something like that, I'm doing multi-cropping. मैंने 4 terms use किए. I hope you are clear. I use terms like monoculture, which is growing only one crop in the whole year. Multiculture, growing more than one crop in the whole year. Monocropping, growing only one crop in one season and keep going on growing it every season, every time. Multi-cropping, growing multiple crops together or at least alternating the crops. So these are again terms in agriculture we will keep using. You must be used to that. All right. In India in 1951, imagine 80% of the cropping area, gross cropped area, was under monocropping. All right. एक ही crop grow कर रहे, monoculture sorry, एक ही crop grow करते थे पूरे साल भर में, and that used to be the normally paddy. Sometimes it was also millets. All right. अब मैंने एक और term use किया. I will clarify that, and then we go to the second point. I used a term gross cropped area. All right, that is a term I used. So because I said 80% of gross cropped area was used under monoculture. All right, so gross cropped area. Now see, when you see this term gross cropped area, it represents total area under cultivation after considering the number of crops grown on the field. That is gross cropped area. It is the it represents total area under cultivation after considering the number of crops grown on the field. Now what does that mean? I'll give you an example, you will get me. Think, suppose there is a field, there's a village, and suppose the village has 3 fields, 1 acre, 1 acre, 1 acre. All right. Now in this village, it means 3 acre is the net cropped area. All right. क्योंकि total area cultivation के लिए कितना है इस गांव में? 3 acre. So 3 acre becomes the net cropped area. But now imagine if there is a farmer and this farmer cultivates a kharif crop and a rabi crop and a zaid crop. All right. ये किसान जो है ये 3 फसल ग्रो करते हैं अपने खेत पर. एक दूसरे किसान है जो इनके पड़ोसी हैं, the neighbor. This farmer grows a kharif crop and a rabi crop. And suppose there is a third farmer and that farmer grows only a kharif crop. In that case, the gross cropped area will be first acre of land grown thrice, then second acre of land grown twice, and third acre of land grown once. Together they add up to 6 acre. You understand that? कैसे ऐसे calculate किया? What is the logic? The logic is, it is a 1 acre land. How many crops did I grow on it? 3. So effectively I used this 1 acre how many times? 3 times. So it gives me productivity worth 3 acre. Similarly, 1 acre land used twice, so gives me production worth 2 acre. And 1 acre land used one, production worth 1 acre. So this is gross क्रॉप्ड एरिया, एक सेकेंड लूंगा। तो भारत में जो टोटल ग्रॉस क्रॉप्ड एरिया था 1951 में, उनमें 80% लैंड एरिया ऐसा था जिसमें साल भर में एक ही क्रॉप ग्रो होगा. They will not grow the second crop. You understand that? And that kept agriculture backward again. Because ideally you would expect, अब अगर आज की बात करूं, today in 2026, 83% of gross cropped area in India, 83% has at least 2 crops. आज के इंडिया में, उस जमाने में 80% में एक ही क्रॉप था, अभी 83% में कम से कम 2 क्रॉप्स हैं. You understand that? So that increases your capacity to produce, serve your people and so on. क्यों ये चर्चा कर रहे हैं हम लोग एग्रीकल्चर के बैकवर्डनेस की? अभी लिखवाऊंगा तुम्हें मैं. This whole discussion about agriculture backwardness is happening because imagine agriculture is contributing more than half of GDP, and agriculture was employing almost 3/4 of population, and still we did not have sufficient food in India. You understand that? So that becomes a point of discussion, that if agriculture was such a dominant thing, how come India was importing food? And India was importing food because agriculture was dominant but very unproductive, and overall India was very poor. I hope it can stay with you. Okay, I had 2 hands raised. You can ask me one by one. Okay? Yes, yes. एक साल में देखो, सीजन तो 3 होंगे ना, खरीफ, रबी और जायद. उनमें फिर तुमने क्रॉपिंग की या नहीं? साल के 3 सीजन हुए हैं, खरीफ, रबी, जायद. अब उनमें अगर खरीफ में क्रॉपिंग हुई तो ठीक है, एडेड. रबी में हुई तो एडेड. जायद में है तो एडेड. वो सीजन ही कैसे होगा फिर? है ना? जून में अक्टूबर तो नहीं बोल सकते, भले ही दिवाली मना लें, मतलब कोई रोक नहीं सकता. समझ रहे हो? दैट इज दैट. एक्चुअली एक कारण बताता हूँ. रबी क्रॉप्स को जिस तरह का वो वेदर चाहिए वो मिलेगा ही नहीं उस वक्त, ठीक है, इसलिए नहीं ग्रो करते हैं. कांट ग्रो अ पोटैटो इन फेब्रुवरी, सॉरी इन अप्रैल. दैट इज द चैलेंज. नहीं, क्योंकि उसका रीजन है, या तो मोनोक्रॉपिंग होती है, या फिर फर्टिलाइजर एंड इरिगेशन का इंटेंसिवली यूज करके एक राइस प्रोडक्शन होता है, सो दैट कम सपोर्टिंग सॉयल या कम सपोर्टिंग सिस्टम में भी मैं एक क्रॉप ग्रो कर लूँ, ठीक है. बट यहाँ हम लोग नेचुरल फार्मिंग की बात करें, जो नेचुरली नेचर परमिट करती है. यस यस. Didn't have enough equipment, didn't have enough field. Leaving land fallow was a requirement. ये तो फर्टिलाइजर डालना शुरू किया तब लैंड में 2 कल्टीवेशन होनी शुरू हुई ना, नहीं तो मिट्टी वापस नहीं आ पाती थी अपना फर्टिलिटी, तो फैलो छोड़ना पड़ता था. ये एक बहुत बड़ा कारण था, ठीक है. ओके, आई विल जस्ट टेक अ कपल ऑफ क्वेश्चन ऑनलाइन एंड आई कम बैक टू यू. Yes, Akshat, you are right. Okay, okay. We can approximate the data up to 1 decimal point, Divya, that's completely okay. No, so fishery, growing a fish becomes part of allied activity, fishery. Fish is not a crop. समझ रहे हो? जानवर है, प्लांट नहीं है, ठीक है. मतलब एम्फीबियन है, नहीं तो फिर कोई उठ के कहेगा आपने एम्फीबियन को एनिमल कैसे बोला, ठीक है. एनीवे, सो दैट इज द आइडिया. ओके, टर्टल ले लो जैसे, तो उनको ग्रो कर, मतलब वो कल्टीवेट करते हैं, करना वर्ड यूज करते हैं हम लोग, लेकिन वो एक्चुअली एक पशुपालन जैसी बात हुई, ठीक है. ओके ओके, देन यू राइट बिलो दैट. आई होप द पार्ट इन द नोट इज कवर्ड. यू हैव डन ऑल दैट. ये नोट का पार्ट था, बस उसके नीचे लिख लो, बैकवर्डनेस ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, बैकवर्डनेस ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर was responsible for lack of food sufficiency in India, even though more than ये तो चल रहा होगा ऑनलाइन, ठीक है ना? मैं आपको दिख ही रहा हूं, आप लिख नहीं भी दिख रहा तो कोई बात नहीं, आवाज सुनिए. इवन दो मोर देन half of GDP half of GDP was coming from agriculture, and almost three-fourth of workforce was employed in agriculture. Okay, then you write the second part of analysis. This was one about dominance of agriculture in both income structure and occupational structure. Then you write second, service sector dominated industrial sector in terms of contribution to GDP, because during British period there was large focus on international trade, comma, home charges paid to the British government. You know, it was home charges that British government used to take from India, saying that we are giving service of administration to all of you, and that home charges will be paid out of Indian coffer. हमारे ट्रेजरी से वो होम चार्जेस पे होते थे, और लेकिन वो चार्जेस जाते थे ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट को, और ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट कहते थे हम आपको गवर्नेंस की सर्विस दे रहे हैं, and that's why we are taking this money from you. And they were huge money that every year would flow out of Britain. When I will teach you India before 47, and when I will teach you drain of wealth, we will bring it there. But that was the home charges story. All right, that Britishers would charge us home charges. Put a comma. Returns on investment through commission. I'll tell you what that means. So, Britishers would invest in India and get returns on it. Understand this. Suppose you are a British person. You invested in India in construction of a road, and you are assured that whatever you have invested, you will get 5% return. आपने भारत में इन्वेस्ट किया पैसा, और आपको कहा गया जो भी आपने इन्वेस्ट किया 5% का रिटर्न मिलेगा. But it doesn't end there. You will get 5% return, but you are not investing on your own. You are investing through a British brokerage firm. एक ब्रिटेन की ही ब्रोकरेज फर्म होगी जिनके थ्रू आपने इन्वेस्ट किया है, एंड वॉट एवर इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न यू विल गेट, अ परसेंटेज ऑफ दैट विल बी गिवन टू द ब्रोकरेज फर्म, British brokerage firm, saying these are services of brokerage done by the British firm to Indians. भारत को ये, अब मैं आपको एक्सप्लेनेशन देता हूँ, बहुत जबरदस्त डकैती डालते थे वो लोग हमारे यहाँ, तो उन्होंने डकैती ऐसे एक्सप्लेन किया था that अगर ये ब्रोकरेज फर्म नहीं होते, if this brokerage firm was not there, India would not have received these investments, and then India would not have developed as much. So these brokerage firms are giving you the service of brokerage to attract investments into India, and therefore you will have to pay them money, and that was taken as a part of service contribution. Are you getting my point? All right. Britishers were indigenous dacoits. कुछ लोग होते हैं सीधा डकैती डालते हैं, कुछ लोग होते हैं अपना कहानी सुनाकर डकैती डालते हैं, इसमें बड़े माहिर थे वो लोग. एज आई टीच यू इंडिया बिफोर 47 में आपको उनकी डकैती की और कहानियां बताऊंगा. एंड देन यू राइट एंड dominance of Indian railways as a mode of transportation dominance of Indian railways as a mode of transportation. All right, so as a mode of transportation, Indian Railways became heavily dominant, and that was promoting a lot of expenditure and, of course, share in the GDP. So, share of investment brokerage, Indian Railways, home charges to the government, and then, of course, share of petty services were also there, and all that was making service sector look much bigger. Trade, of course, was a big factor. So, service sector looked much bigger. Change the paragraph and write, the share of manufacturing remained low. The share of manufacturing remained low with very less development of electricity and industrial utilities full stop. Construction was also not well developed in India. You know, there is a British economist called William Gibson. He says that in 1951, not even 3% of India was living in a pakka house. Not even 3% of India. And not even 4% of India's area was covered by a metalled road, pakka road as we call it. So that is where they had left us. All right, so construction was not well developed, full stop. All of these restricted the share of industries, full stop. Industries were dominated by consumer goods like cotton textile, jute products, leather goods, and sugar. I can assume you understand consumer goods, all those commodities which are used for final consumption by the individuals or households. That is the only expectation I have from my classroom. My only expectation is those of you who don't come from an economics background have at least read NCERT 11th and 12th standard. All right, if you have not done micro and macro NCERT, please do. All right, because that is what I will expect you have read. मैं बस इतना ही मान के चलता हूँ कि तुम 11th और 12th की NCERT पढ़कर आए हो, बाकी सब कुछ मैं पढ़ा दूंगा. NCERT की भी कुछ चीजें मैं ही पढ़ा देता हूँ, लेकिन फिर भी मैं मानता हूँ कि तुम उतना पढ़ लो so that you know the topic, the talks I am doing. So please make sure that if you have not done them, you do them in the next say 2 weeks. All right, कि आप इन NCERT को एक बार go through कर लो बस. You don't have to understand everything in it, but you must get familiar with the language. All right, and in the same thing you write, the only significant capital goods industries was iron and steel. All right, so this is on economic structure, income structure. Agriculture dominant, services slightly there, industries almost missing. You write the third point. You write, before I make you write the third point, I have a small question. Why are we discussing economic structure? What is the relevance? What does it show? मान लीजिए आप में से कोई बोले कि क्या बेकार की बात है, नहीं जानना मुझे ये सब, इकोनॉमिक्स में मुझे ये सब क्यों पढ़ा रहे हो? आप कैसे बचाओगे मुझे? नहीं बचाते जी तुम्हें. जा तू डूब जा मोटे आदमी. How do you protect me? You will say that economic structure of a country is a reflection of level of modernization of that country. When we started as humans, we were hunter-gatherers, which we remained for very long. Out of 2 million years of existence on this earth, 1.9 million, slightly more than that, was as hunter-gatherers, living in the jungles, taking fruit, eating it, killing an animal, eating it, animal kills me, eat me. That is how humans were. अगर 20 लाख साल मान लें तो 19 लाख 90,000 92,000 साल तो ऐसे ही बीते. Then we started making houses, cultivation, agriculture, domestication of animals. Last 10,000 years की story है ना ये सब, 10,000, 15,000 years की. You understand that? इसीलिए आप देखिएगा हम में रेशियल मेमोरी अभी भी बहुत कूट कूट के भरी हुई है. जैसे बाहर खाना गए ठूस के खा लिए. आप देखेंगे ऐसा, कुछ अच्छा खाना मिला ठूस लिए, पार्टी में गए ठूस लिए. पता है, फिर आके बोल भी दे रहे एंटासिड खिलाओ, आज बहुत ठूस लिया. भाई क्यों ठूस लिए? जरूरत तो पता तो था ये तो गड़बड़ करेगा, खराब करेगा. ये रेशियल मेमोरी है हमारी. व्हाट इज दैट रेशियल मेमोरी? इमेजिन इन द जंगल, मूविंग विदाउट क्लोथ्स, moving along from one tree to another, suddenly finding a mango tree, eating a nice mango, lovely, eating another one, even more lovely. Now you have a choice, stay near the tree and maybe an animal will kill you. You don't have a pocket, so you can't keep it anywhere. So maximum you can walk away with 4 or 5 mangoes, whatever you can hold in your hand, depending on the size of your hand. But you love the fruit, you don't want to leave it, so what do? Eat enough. भाई ठूस लो जितना ठूस सकते हो, फिर बढ़ते हैं आगे यहाँ से, और हाथ भी 4-5 लेके चले जाएंगे, थोड़ी तसल्ली रहेगी. अब आप सोचिए 19,90,000 years of this existence, उसके ऊपर 10,000 year का एक्जिस्टेंस कैसे भारी पड़ेगा. तुम्हारी रेशियल मेमोरी हमें क्या करती है? जैसे ही अच्छा खाना मिला सिग्नल देना शुरू करती है, ठूस भाई ठूस, खा भाई खा. हम ना ठूस लेते हैं, फिर कहते हैं अरे यार ये बाहर खाने से बहुत खाना हो जाता है, अच्छे खाने के स्मेल में बहुत खाना हो जाता है. ये ह्यूमन रेशियल मेमोरी है, ये ह्यूमन स्ट्रक्चर है. और ऐसे बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल तुम्हें दे सकता हूं, बट एक से आज काम चलाते हैं. चलो एक और दे देता हूं. गोइंग मोर विथ नेगेटिव इमेजेस देन पॉजिटिव इमेजेस, बिकॉज वी हैव लिव्ड अंडर थ्रेट फॉर सो मेनी ईयर्स. तो इमीडिएटली कॉर्टिजोल निकल के आता है हार्मोन्स में से. जैसे ही नेगेटिव इमेजेस का मतलब क्या हुआ? आप सोच के देखिए, अखबार उसी का तो पैसा कमाते हैं. भाई ऐसा तो हो नहीं रहा कि इंडिया में कोई किसी की मदद नहीं कर रहा. यह भी नहीं हो रहा कि किसी गरीब बच्चे का खाना नहीं खिलाया जा रहा. कम से कम गुरुद्वारे के लंगर की रिपोर्टिंग हो जाए कि यह गुरुद्वारा इतने लोगों को खिलाता है एक दिन में, शानदार काम करता है. लेकिन रिपोर्टिंग क्या होगी? हस्बैंड हैड गॉन विद द वाइफ फॉर हनीमून, द वाइफ किल्ड हिम. Now imagine out of 100 million people who are married in a country like India, more than that of course, in a country like India, even if 1,000 wives are killing their husbands, or even if 1,000 husbands are killing their wives, that's exception rather than rule, and that's not newsworthy alone. But it immediately strikes me, तुम खतरे में हो भाई. फिर हम भी अपने स्पाउस को देखना शुरू कर, भाई तुम देख लेना भाई. You know? Well, that is the basic idea. So fear again. Up again on a serious note now I'm saying this. तुम सोच के देखना, कभी अपने behavioral tendencies को देखना. किसी ने कह दिया पता है फलाना आदमी तुम्हारी तारीफ कर रहा था, अच्छा लगता है सुन के, अरे तारीफ कर रहा था, अच्छी बात है. But after a day, maximum 10 hours, maybe 2 days, it leaves me. मैं हार्डली किसी को जाके कहता हूँ पता है आज मेरी तारीफ हो रही थी. कभी कभी बोल देता हूँ पेरेंट्स को या अच्छे दोस्त को, पता है वो मेरे बारे में अच्छा बोल रहा था. मैटर एंड्स देयर. आप उल्टा सुनिए, कभी वो आदमी तुम्हारी बुराई कर रहा था, नाउ इट प्लेज ऑन इन अ प्लेबैक मोड. क्यों कर रहा था, मेरे ही बारे में क्यों बोला, ऐसा क्यों किया उसने. फिर किसी से मिले, पता है यार मेरे बारे में ऐसा बोल रहा था. किसी चौथे से मिले, कैसा आदमी है ना ऐसे बोलता है मेरे बारे में. इमेजिन नाउ आई फील अ थ्रेट, आई एम इमीडिएटली रिस्पॉन्डिंग एंड रिस्पॉन्डिंग लॉन्ग इनफ. आई फील समथिंग सेफ्टी, आई एम नॉट रिस्पॉन्डिंग एट ऑल, or maybe responding slow enough. All these are racial memories, the way humans have developed. The more we know ourselves, the more we know our racial memories, better off we are, because then we realize people can create threat perceptions to make us behave in a particular way. And you are living in more dangerous days of social media, where threat perceptions can always be created from one corner or the other. But anyways, that's the thing. So now the moral of my story was, मैं ये बातें तुम्हें इसलिए बोल रहा था, that you can't ignore historical evolution of humans. So what has been historical evolution of humans? So hunter gatherer, then agriculture. अब एक बात तुम्हें आश्चर्य होगा सुन के, 1750 AD तक, till the first industrial revolution, there was no country in this world, no country where agriculture was not contributing more than 50% of GDP. There was no country in this world. In every country, agriculture contributed more than 50% of GDP. But then industrial revolution happened, and it started with light consumer goods, as we call them, clothes, shoes, furniture. Then it became more complex consumer goods like spectacles, watches. Then to produce these goods, you needed machines. So then came the entry of capital goods. So use machines to produce goods rather than humans. And then to produce capital goods, you needed capital goods. So you got bigger machines to produce machines, which will then produce consumer goods. I hope you understand the evolution. But as these bigger machines came, there was more growth of services like trade, because you needed a bigger market to use the bigger machine. Services like insurance, banking, software gradually, and it all became dominant. So what is the story of human evolution then? Initially, dominance of agriculture, both in income structure and occupational structure, followed by dominance of industry, both in income structure, occupational structure, and then followed by dominance of services. So the more modern you are, more service dominance you will have. That is why Donald Trump is an idiot who doesn't understand it. Idiot में कोई गाली नहीं दे रहा हूं उनको. Idiot का मतलब होता है mind which cannot articulate. बच्चे idiot होते हैं जैसे. उनको सच में लगता है ना स्पाइडरमैन है. तुम छोटे थे, तुम इडियट थे. मैं छोटा था, मैं इडियट था. हम छोटे थे तो फैंटेसी को राइट मानते थे. तुम छोटे हो गए, तुम याद करो, बहुत लोग तुम्हें बड़े बोलते होंगे ये WWE फिक्स्ड मैच है. फिर तुम उनसे लड़ते होगे, नहीं मैंने खून निकलते देखा अंडरटेकर को. तुम मेरी अंडरटेकर की ब्रेवरी मुझसे नहीं ले सकते. यू नो, हम इडियट्स थे उस वक्त. हमें लगता था नहीं सच में WWE के मैचेस होते हैं, वो फिक्स्ड मैचेस होते हैं. हमें जब बड़े हो जाते हैं हमें पता लग जाता है, तो हम देखते फिर भी हैं, बट हम फन के लिए देख सकते हैं, नॉट फॉर द सेक ऑफ दैट इन्वॉल्वमेंट दैट अ किड हैज. यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? दैट्स इवोल्यूशन. तो इडियट मैंने इसलिए कहा ट्रंप को कि वो रियलाइज नहीं करते हैं दैट अमेरिकन्स आर नाउ पास्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. They are into services. 86% of America's GDP comes from services, not manufacturing. Only 13% of America's GDP comes from manufacturing, and less than 1% from agriculture. So he says, we'll make America great again by manufacturing in America. It won't work. That's why idiot. You know, he's not realizing. So what can he do if he doesn't trust China? He can outsource manufacturing to some friendly countries which can manufacture cheaper. Like us. But just joking on the last part. But you know, say India, say Indonesia, say the Philippines, and so on. But American workers will never be able to match the wage rate that an Indian worker will quote, or a Chinese worker will quote. So when Trump says, oh, I will force the industry to come to my shore, possible. अब धक्का मारेंगे तो लोग मजबूरी में कर सकते हैं, but you will not get cheaper materials the way you are getting today. So your people will have inflation. So ask people, will they be happy with that inflation that they will have? Because right now, Chinese goods are the cheaper options available. Now you say, I don't want things to be produced in China. Fair enough. Things will reshore themselves. But if they will reshore to a place where the work wage rate is higher, then automatically price will also rise. So live with high inflation. You can't have a situation where inflation will be low, but production will be in America. But then Donald Trump doesn't say that. That is the basic idea. इसलिए मैंने कहा कि articulation नहीं है उनमें. वो realize नहीं करते कि America, Britain, France, they have gone past the manufacturing stage. And again, they can manufacture, but if they manufacture, it will be a costly manufacturing. It will be unlike a South Korea, unlike an Indonesia, unlike an India. But anyway, so that is one. And एक second लूँगा. So we need to understand that when we discuss India's economic structure in 1947, we are trying to find out how much backward we were. Because if you have too much dominance of agriculture, too much dominance of agricultural activities, then that means you are not yet higher up on that production schedule. जो आपका स्ट्रक्चरिंग शेड्यूल है उस पर आप उतने हाई अभी नहीं गए हैं. ये थ्योरी एक इकोनॉमिस्ट ने दी थी, मैं आपको ये पढ़ाऊंगा आगे डेवलपमेंट इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ाते हुए. ही वाज कॉल्ड साइमन कुजनेट्स. सो कुजनेट्स gave this idea of structural evolution. All right, that you will first have dominance of agriculture, then industry, and then services, and that's natural system of evolution. You will not have one trespassing the other. But anyways, in India, we have broken that. So we have jumped from agriculture to services, which I will discuss in a separate class, of course, not today. Yes, yes. नहीं, चाइना में तुम देखो, चाइनीज आर नाउ आउटसोर्सिंग टू वियतनाम. Commodities like footwear, commodities like textile. A lot of Chinese textile and footwear is now made in Vietnam. Then they bring it from Vietnam to China, add value to it, the upper end value, and then export it. Because Chinese are still poor. Chinese are a $14,000 per capita income economy. Compare it to a France which is 45,000, a Britain which is 52,000, America which is 91,000, Switzerland which is 76,000. ये तो चाइना को लगता है कि वो अमीर हो गए हैं, और चूंकि हम उनसे भी गरीब हैं तो हमें लगता है वो अमीर हो गए हैं. It's a relative thing. No, I'm honestly telling you. If you look into data, it's a very interesting world, and I will try making it in our next classes that we have, because I'll keep sharing all this with you. But this is something you need to understand, that when China can produce cheaper, well, they can produce cheaper. One reason is many of देखो उनका per capita income है $14,000, but per capita income $14,000 होने का मतलब ये थोड़ी होता है that everybody is earning $14,000. So you have many people in China who are earning far lesser than that. So in that case, they are still competing with the world. Plus, they have other advantage of state-sponsored companies. So if the government gives you a very low interest rate, government-sponsored banks, and if you get you get very cheap capital, and if the land is almost for free, अच्छा तुम industry बना रहे हो, ये special economic zone है, तुम्हें land almost free का मिल गया. You can absorb a slightly higher wage cost, which is slightly higher, and still be competitive with the world. You understand that? So that exactly is how they have been trying to do it. Yes, yes. ट्रू, ये बात सही है. इसी से वो चिंता में है कि विदाउट इंडस्ट्री सिक्योरिटी नहीं है. मैं वॉर हो गया तो मैन्युफैक्चर कैसे करूंगा? तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूं कि फ्रेंड शोरिंग करिए. लेकिन कपड़े बनाने की इंडस्ट्री को तुम गन बनाने वाला कैसे बनाओगे ओवरनाइट? तो कपड़ा बनाने वाला तो तुम्हें नहीं आएगा तुम्हारे यहाँ. तुम कर क्या सकते हो? हाँ, तुम ये डर सकते हो दैट व्हाट इफ चाइना डजंट गिव मी अ रेयर अर्थ or a rare earth permanent magnet. And that is what I'm saying, do friend shoring. Cultivate others who are friendly to you, and they can maybe develop it for you, and you can trade with them. Absolutely, because it will not happen immediately. India has not cultivated a lot of confidence in them. तुम सोचो जब पाकिस्तान के प्रेसिडेंट गए अमेरिका तो हम लोग गुस्सा हुए ना, तो जब पुतिन यहां आते हैं तो वो नहीं होंगे. हम बड़े अजीब लोग हैं ना. I will have multiple spouse, but you should have only one. That is not allowed. If I am saying that I am quoting Russia, और मैं चाइना और रशिया के साथ ब्रिक्स में भी हूं, तो क्वाड तो डूबेगा. I can't be everywhere. Now, I know that India is trying to make sure that we are not found on one polar side. That is fully understandable. But I'm just saying that then why will America trust us sufficiently to bring production units into my country? What if tomorrow I go that side? ये mistrust तो रहेगा ही ना हमेशा कि भाई इनके यहाँ बहुत सारा इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दिया और ये भाई साहब निकल लिए. So that is the challenge due to which they are not trusting us to bring their companies in that sense to our country. Otherwise, they could have. Also, but then Donald Trump doesn't think like that. For Donald Trump, he believes that he can bring industries to America by imposing high tariff. But that doesn't work because tariff doesn't become the only factor determining it. It's the price of land, price of your labor, price of raw material. All that will matter. And that is why I say that they are not articulating it well. You know, if Americans say we want to produce robotics more, I understand. If they say I want to regain my leadership in electric vehicles, I understand. I want to regain my leadership in hardware development, I understand. But I want to produce more televisions? Blasé. You know, nonsense. वो टेलीविजन तो अब प्रोड्यूस होगा वहीं जहां चीपर बनेगा, आप नहीं बना सकते उसको वापस. So I think they should move on and produce higher end industry. I'm fully for it. But if they talk about making clothes in their country, I mean, all the best to them. Let's see if they can do it. So if they are happy paying 5 times more for their clothes, no problem. But will their people be happy paying 5 times more for their clothes? कंज्यूमर्स आर ऑलवेज अमेजिंग लॉट्स, नो, ह्यूमन इन जनरल. किसान को ज्यादा पैसा मिलना चाहिए, इंडिया में बोलते हैं ना हम. सरकार को एमएसपी बढ़ानी चाहिए. ठीक है भाई, कल से तुम्हारा आटा 200 रुपए किलो. ऐसा थोड़ा ही होता है. तो कैसे काम चलेगा? अगर गेहूं 100 रुपए किलो तो आटा 200 रुपए किलो तो होगा. लेकिन गेहूं 100 रुपए किलो रखो, लेकिन आटा 80 रुपए किलो बेचो. People think like that. People don't realize the impact it will create. So they say, no, no, give more money here or do this, and we are with you. They don't realize the impact it will have, because the impacts happen 3, 4, 5 years later, and by then the fellow is gone. I mean, from the office. So that is, no, with people like Trump and his age, you never know. So that is the idea. खैर उनके पास, ट्रम्प के पास तो काफी वक्त है अभी, भगवान अच्छे लोगों को बुलाते हैं. So but anyway, so that is the basic idea to keep in mind. Okay, now you write, I hope you have a basic understanding on this. Okay, you write just few more things. You write a third thing. You write agriculture dominated occupational structure due to two main reasons. Due to two main reasons. One, absence of large scale industries. Absence of large scale industries which could hire relatively more workers along with absence of rural industrialization. Absence of rural industrialization. And then you write second. I hope you gathered that. एक तो लार्ज स्केल इंडस्ट्री नहीं थे, दूसरे रूरल इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं थे. सो यू डिडंट हैव many employment opportunities in industries. And second point you write, this is within the third point, second explanation. You write very low level of skill development, very low level of skill development which made workers unfit for industries. Which made workers unfit for industries. I hope you gathered that also. That there was a very low level of skill development. So automatically, think the literacy rate in India was 16%. 84% people were completely illiterate. So automatically you didn't have people who could have worked as industrial labor. All right. And then you write fourth, this is the last feature in case you feel troubled. आपका मेरा वक्त पूरा होने वाला है, तो आप लोग सोचेंगे देख नहीं रहा है, घूमकर घड़ी की तरफ ही आदमी. I'll take just 5 minutes more of your life. You write fourth feature, British period ended with large employment in services. Large employment in services compared to manufacturing because, and you can take it as 1 and 2 again. So 1, very large recruitment by British for administration. I repeat, very large recruitment by British for administration, defense and trade. And second, And second, manufacturing was concentrated. Manufacturing was concentrated mainly in presidency cities. Presidency cities were Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay. They were presidency cities. So mainly in presidency cities and capital of princely states like a Hyderabad or a Cochin. So capital of princely states which did not provide opportunities for people in rural areas. In the same thing you write, the British used capital intensive technology. The British used capital intensive technology. Capital intensive technology is which uses more machines and less workers. So capital intensive technology which required less labor. And then a third point you add in this, reason why services was more, employing more and manufacturing less. You write, large part of population was involved in petty services like small vending, petty shopkeeping, small trading, etc. You take it down. Aparna, keep it as workforce. By mistake, I would have said labor force. Keep it as workforce. Ahmed, I'm explaining your number. Return on investment through commission means that you pay commission on the investment that you had done in India. तो जो ब्रिटिशर्स इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करते थे उन्हें एक कमीशन भी देती थी इंडिया की गवर्नमेंट वहां पर लिखने के लिए. You can use the name of economists, Aparna, as I give you. That can be done. Okay. And in case somebody, some among you could not get your questions solved online, you can send it to me on Telegram. I can answer. After service dominance, the services will keep improving more and more, Akshat. That is what will happen. All right. Now, just coming, I'll just take 1 minute more of your life. Just coming back to this, it was, the economist is called Gibson, Pavan, Gibson. All right. Now, this all meant that overall, our industries remained backward and agriculture was the main contributor. Services were there, but all services were not progressive. They were not that high income creating services. They were services which were on the lower end. This is on economic structure and occupational structure of India. Normally, you can expect a 150 word answer on this, normally. All right. I will start a second discussion with you tomorrow. You just take the heading today. Tomorrow we will begin with that second discussion. This is trends of GDP growth. Trends of GDP growth in India in 20th century. This is from 1900 to 1991. Of course, we'll make a distinction after independence, but I will give you a complete trend. This has been a question actually in one of the years when they asked us about the trend of India's GDP from 1900 to 1991. So just thought I'll quickly discuss it with you, the entire trend from 1900 to 1991. And when I discuss that trend with you, I will also discuss with you the evolution of economy, like how industries changed and how services changed. We will discuss all that. It will be a detailed debate which we will pick up tomorrow then. So if you have any doubts, I'm here after the class. You can ask me. Else I see you tomorrow 3 o'clock then. Thank you, all of you. Correct, Santosh. French had preserved parts of Puducherry, Santosh, but that was not a very large region. True, Akshat, we are on survival mode, no doubt about it. Thank you, Kashak. Thank you, Parth.